I supported my brother-in-law after we discovered my sister's betrayal, but my family is upset with me.
Don't support him. Put him in jail.
My sister Mary, 27 female, met her husband Tom, 29 male, when she was attending college out of state, and he was stationed near her campus with the Army. After he got out, she dropped out of school so they could move to our home state at her request. So we've been the only family he's had here. By the way, this comes from Immediate March 65. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytimes. They have a 3-year-old daughter, Jane. Not long ago, a guy, let's call him Bill, reached out to Tom on Facebook and told him he saw my sister, 3-year-old kid, and there's a possibility my niece may be his child.
The plot thickens quite quick. This is like an instant gravy type story.
He and my sister had been having an affair from the time they moved home until shortly after she found out she was pregos. He had to move away for work, and my sister never mentioned the pregnancy to him or that she was married. Tom confronted Mary, and eventually she admitted to the affair. 2 paternity tests later, it was confirmed my niece is not Tom's child.
Oh my! And they're mad at him about this?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet. We got Bill's baby.
Secret tunnel.
No, this is a byproduct of the secret tunnel.
Exactly.
He has been devastated. Bill wants to be in Jane's life, but my sister and family are staunchly against this. They say Jane already has a dad, Tom. Tom has been going to counseling since Bio Dad first reached out to him, and he just cannot see Jane the way he used to, or be around her, or talk about her without breaking down. He says it hurts too much, and he feels like his life has been based on a lie. Oh. Nor can he really imagine staying in her life with Bill around. Since they separated, I have been letting Tom stay at my place since he has no family here. My sister thinks I'm out of line letting Tom stay and that I'm depriving my niece of her uncle. She doesn't want Jane here so long as I'm supporting Tom. Fair, I guess. And Tom has offered that he would go to a friend's or out if I wanted to babysit or spend time with my niece. Also fair. Personally, I sympathize with Tom. I'm not an affair baby, but my mother was pregnant with me when she met my sibling's father. He made the stipulation that he'd stick around, but my bio dad and bio family could not be around, and my mother agreed. He treated me differently once my sister and brothers were born, and even more so after he and my mom divorced. My paternal family reached out eventually, and I learned the truth and got to know them. This pissed off my adopted dad to no end, and his family as well. But he doesn't. He said it was a slap in the face that I would even want to know my other family. They were my family, and it was ungrateful of me to forsake all of that. I don't want my niece to possibly go through that. Getting stuck between families is the worst. So I've been helping Tom find out more about Bill and mediating between them when they talk. Bill seems like a real stand-up guy with positive people around him and wants to take my sister to court for custody, my brother-in-law as well, to get taken off the birth certificate. I support both of them in these decisions and have offered to help if they need it. My sister is mad at me, but I have told her and our family that she should only be mad at herself. Now, this would even be happening if she hadn't played eeny, meeny, miny, mo with her kid's dad. My family thinks I'm prioritizing Tom and Bill over my niece, that I should be shaming him for abandoning his daughter, and that I am turning my back on her, but I don't think I am. I also think that Tom deserves some kind of support through all of this. I could really use some outside perspective. Is this really a wrong stance for me to take, or should I back off because my family is right about Tom needing to stick around and shun Bill? We got an update. I think what's happening here, sister is a golden child. Sister made a bad decision, and the family's trying to cover it up. Like, no, don't look at that. Don't look at that. Just go back to what you were doing. Nothing happened. While things are happening.
Yeah, it's crazy that no one is telling her that she needs to have any responsibility for her decisions.
Yeah.
Nothing but bad takes.
Update. Yes, Bill knows Jane is his. When Tom got his paternity test done, he and Bill had him go separately to be tested. Okay. Why am I letting Tom stay with me? Well, he was family for years from me. And you don't just chuck family into the streets except for extreme situations. Divorce takes a year in my stay, and Tom is opting to stay to make sure it can all be handled quickly and smoothly to get it finalized as soon as possible. That said, he plans on moving back to his homestay after that, so I'm letting him stay with me so he can save money for his move and moving expenses. Otherwise, the only place he could afford on his own requires 6 and 12-month leases. Dude, OP's just being an angel. Why is everyone mad at him?
Exactly. I feel like they're mad because OP's propping up the guy who they want to be mad at.
Yeah, mad because bad.
And it's like, they feel like it's like, oh, you're choosing his side? You're choosing Tom's side? It's like, well, first of all, if we're talking about sides, his side is arguably the one where he's done absolutely nothing wrong, and he's raised a kid that's not his for 4 years. Yeah. So, good. That's the good side.
Yeah. I really see on Tom's shoulder is like an angel and a devil. It's like OP's the angel, and then the family's like the devil. They got like a whole like family of a devil. Supporting Tom and Bill may result in my sister and I having little to no contact. True, it may, and that'll be our cross to bear, but I can't find it in me to ignore others needing help just to satiate her and excuse her behavior. Yeah, because you'd be a part of like the mad mob if you were like, oh, Tom, you should be with your daughter.
Right.
I still love my sister. Whatever my feelings or opinions of what she did or is doing have no place in this, nor is it really the time for me to go expressing them to her. Bill's lawyer says it's very likely Bill will wind up with a custody arrangement, and he has assured me that if things go south with my sister, that she won't let me see my niece. I'd always be welcome to visit them to see her during this time with her. Now for the update. It's not a huge one, but rather surprising, and we got a lot of chunk here, guys. My sister is being cranky and doubling down, doing all she can to guilt Tom into reconciling and be adamant about Bill not being involved because she has a husband that just needs to realize they can work through this. Tom is Jane's dad and Bill is not needed. So meh there. Last week, I went on a fishing trip with both Tom and Bill for the three of us just to relax and forget all this nonsense for a bit. Okay, OP, I love you. I love what you're doing. But I don't think Bill and Tom need to be in the same room.
No.
Let alone a freaking fishing trip. What? You're doing like God's work, but you need to just be an angel, you know?
You're trying to set up a true crime scenario here.
Yeah, dude.
Let them fight. Let them win.
Yeah, like Bill seems like a great guy. Tom seems like a great guy, but we don't need to, I don't know. Like, I don't want to be in the room with the guy that did something with my girl. You know what I mean?
Sister needs to be like, the sister being like, I already have a husband that just needs to realize we can work through this. No, you don't.
Reality check.
You lost him when he figured out what reality was and that you cheated on him, and he's been raising a kid that's not biologically his.
Yeah.
Regardless of the bond that he has now with that kid, it changes everything in his head.
And I do agree that Bill does need to be like a father figure in this kid's life. If he wants to, he has a right to that. I'm just saying, I don't know. They're not co-parenting. The co-parenting would be the sister and Bill, not Tom. Tom, once he got back, my mother showed up to try talking to me about why I'm doing any of this. Surprisingly, we had a decent talk after some heated tension. I wound up showing her the post, and while she wasn't happy I was airing out our laundry, it helped a bit. Ultimately, I was able to get it through to her that given the circumstances and the high probability Bill is going to be a present in Jane's life from here on out, the best thing for Jane be if our family and Bill could at least coexist. And guys, you can freaking coexist with us. Just go to your favorite freaking podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, and what are we looking up to go to?
Okay, Storytime.
And what is there waiting for them right now?
Like 49 days worth of stories. 49 consecutive days.
Just go there. Coexist with us right now. Let us be in your ears. inevitably
Let us
forever.
live in those little ear holes.
So it looks like OP has won over the mom. Do you think he will slowly win over more of the family?
Maybe?
Yeah.
But, like, it seems like nobody is willing to, like, be like, oh, yeah, what was her name? Jane? No, that's the kid's name.
We
What
just
was
have sister.
the sister?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody wants to hold her accountable for any of it.
No.
So that's crazy to me.
But like hearing this from the mom, where the mom's coming a little bit over to OP's side, and she's kind of understanding like the reality of all of this. Maybe she might not be the golden child, or like she's like the dad's favorite or something. Because like the mom, if the sister was a golden child, she'd be all ride or die. I asked her how she would feel if her granddaughter was constantly having to choose who to spend time with for birthdays, graduation, prom pictures, etc. Or God forbid, we all put her in a position that she would have to lie to everyone about what she wanted, just not to hurt feelings, because OP had to go through this. It took a while, but that seemed to at least get through her a bit. She's still not happy about the whole situation, but she did agree to a dinner in a public space to meet Bill and some of his family. And I'm happy to say that wound up going off really well. Bill's mother had a good heart to heart with her and some good progress. Thanks again for the support. We got a comment. OP said in a comment, I don't know. My sister is, well, bit of a special cookie. I love her because she's my sister, but she makes very questionable choices, being coddled and spoiled.
There it is. There it is, folks.
Due to being the baby of the family, probably didn't help. She did ditch her childhood friend at one point because the girl's mother being diagnosed with cancer was too much drama for my sister.
The worst kind of person. Literally the worst kind of person.
Yeah.
You abandon. I absolutely despise people that abandons their friends during hard times, because it's like, were you even actually my friends? Are you just my friend during the highs? I've heard stories about it, and it just infuriates me.
It's just like the attitude's like, oh, it's crazy how your mom chose to get cancer. I can't really deal with that right now. It's too much. For me personally, it's too much. I have a test to study for.
Yeah, you're like crying a lot, and like I just can't let that bring me down.
Your aura is just really negative right now, and I just can't have that in my life.
Like I have a party coming up this weekend, and this like I just no.
Whack.
What the heck?
Whack.
Anyways, back to the comments. Are Bill and Tom going to slowly transition father roles so Jane doesn't end up with abandonment issues? Maybe they can slowly pull Tom out of her life if he played a big role, and then get Bill to be there full time, so she can have a bond with him. OP replied, I'm not entirely sure there. Tom has been in therapy since finding out, but it hasn't been made being around her or talking to her easier for him, and his presence has slowly been tapering off. I give Bill and my mother information for a center that counsels children because they absolutely do need some professional mediation to help Jane go through this and with the transition. Tom has been teaching Bill all the things Jane likes, dislikes, favorite shows, characters, and stuff like that, so Bill can be prepared better. Dude, I kind of like it's like a handoff, like a CEO handoff. Like Tom's being fantastic here to Bill, but
it feels weird. It feels like a corporate handoff.
I don't like the corporate handoff.
It's a child.
This is best case scenario. This is the best case scenario, though. Like, if I found out my dad wasn't my dad.
I feel like Tom's issue is raising the kid within the context of a marriage to the sister.
Yeah.
So
while Bill's
if
context
that's gone.
Well, Bill's context is like raising a kid out of the context of a hookup or of an affair that he didn't know about.
He's doing the move where he's like, I want to like take responsibility and show up. And Tom's like, I can't be in this relationship and raise this kid and also be with you because it's just like too much.
Yeah.
Then it's like over time, I think maybe Bill can take the primary responsibility and Tom can maybe still have a presence. But is that best for the kid?
Also, how did Bill not know that the sister had a whole family? Like, did he not check her out on Facebook or anything like that? How did Bill not freaking know that she was married?
I don't think he probably cared, did he?
Dude, if you're
Even
seeing
if he
a girl,
says he didn't, like, come on, it's probably a lie.
Yeah,
right?
like if you're seeing a girl, don't you want to know like who's your family? Like,
Dude,
hey,
The
tell me
Weeknd
about
has a whole song about that. He says, I don't want to know.
Anyways, that's the end of that story. I think there's nothing else there.
Ay, ay, ay.
My sister-in-law hijacked my son's birthday, so I refused to babysit for her.
You hijack mom. You hijack, you get no shit.
You mess with my son, I'll never look after your son again. I'm 38 female and married to my husband Joe, 38 male. We have been married for 6 years now and have 2 children together, our 4-year-old son and 2-year-old daughter. I also have my older son, 14 male, whose father is not active in his life. By the way, this comes from Cool Trust 8008. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, additionally, 4.5 years ago, while I was pregnant with our son, my best friend of 25 years passed away. When she passed away, I took in my godson, who is now 17. With a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old in the house, I'm pretty busy, even as a stay-at-home mom.
That's a lot of olds.
That's a lot of
olds.
kids, and also
Yeah.
kids with like very different needs.
Very different needs, and you're
Yeah.
probably Ubering them everywhere,
Yeah.
taking them to practices, all this stuff.
My 14-year-old has always been home educated, and my younger 2 will be as well. This is important, and you'll see why. My godson finished his schooling as per his mother's wishes and is now in college. My 14-year-old will also be going to college once he completes his GCSEs. He has already earned 3 at only 14 years old. Wow. My brother-in-law, Tom, 35 male, and his girlfriend, Jenna, 29 female, have been together for 2.5 years. Neither of them have much of a relationship with my kids, and that's fine. No big deal. Until this year, we just assumed they weren't kid people. And honestly, we never expected Tom or Jenna to have children. They're perfectly okay people, to be clear, but they never showed much interest in our youngest children, aside from a birthday card with a gift card inside. They've also rarely acknowledged the older 2 kids. That all changed last Christmas when they announced they were expecting. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's kind of a switch up.
Yeah. Everyone, including my mother-in-law, was completely surprised but extremely supportive. There was even more surprise in January when they found out they were expecting twin girls. As the months passed and my 2-year-old outgrew clothes and baby gear, I offered them to Jenna to help out. She was very grateful. In July, they welcomed their 2 adorable little girls. The whole family bent over backward to support Jenna and Tom. When the twins were just over 2 weeks old, Jenna had a medical emergency and was hospitalized for a few days. Tom explained that with Jenna only receiving maternity pay and his paternity leave already taken, they couldn't afford for him to take any more time off work. I was more than happy to help out, so for 5 days, I watched the newborns alongside my own children so that Tom could continue working and have time to visit Jenna in the hospital, which is so incredibly kind and generous of OP.
Absolutely.
2 newborns plus 4 kids. That just one newborn is such a huge undertaking. It was exhausting, but completely necessary at the time. And if I had my time again, I'd absolutely do the same thing. Once Jenna was released, Tom picked up the twins, but looked upset. He explained that Jenna had been told to take it easy for a few weeks, and he was worried about how she would manage regular household duties and meal prep without him having to cut work hours, which they couldn't afford. Honestly, I felt bad for him. He works hard, but money just doesn't stretch that far these days. My husband and I are far from wealthy, but we are comfortable, and our arrangement works for us. I'm incredibly fortunate to be in a position where I can stay home and raise our children. I offered Tom that if Jenna was ever feeling overwhelmed, I wouldn't mind helping out from time to time. Over the next few days, I batch cooked meals and dropped them off at their home to try and make things easier. All things that are just so incredibly generous, and
That's
I keep
so
feeling like
nice.
something like the shoe's about to drop. Whenever I stopped by, I always had my younger children with me, but still took the time to tidy up the kitchen, make sure the twins were fed and changed, and help however I could. That said, I have 4 children and my own household to run, so I could only do so much. But for those few weeks, I did everything in my power to help. My husband Joe was overwhelmed by how much I was doing. My mother-in-law also helped Jenna whenever she could, but she still works. so her time was limited. By September, Jenna was doing much better physically, so I began to scale back the help I was offering. By that point, I had filled her entire chest freezer with enough meals to last them at least another 6 weeks, if not longer, all at our expense, but I digress. Since then, I have watched the twins a few times. They are now almost 5 months old, and they're absolute darlings. My children and I are very fond of them. Last weekend was my 4-year-old's birthday. After a fun, soft play party with his friends, my husband and I planned a family dinner for him. In attendance were me, my husband, our 4 kids, my mother-in-law, 64 female, her special friend, John, 65 male, Tom, Jenna, and their twins. Side note, I don't know why my husband and Tom call John her special friend. They're weird about calling him her boyfriend. John and mother-in-law don't live together, but have been supporting each other for the last decade and seem happy. No big deal. He's always been welcome. Jenna had recently reconnected with her much younger sister, Ashley, 20 female, and asked if she could bring her. I agreed because I was happy to see Jenna expanding her support network.
Okay.
Everything was going great until midway through dinner, when Jenna mentioned that after seeing how well my 14-year-old was doing with home education, she was seriously considering it for the twins.
But they can't do that, right? Because OP is a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And their family can handle it.
Can't.
But I don't think you're able to.
The conversation didn't exactly come out of nowhere. My mother-in-law had just been asking about how I planned to transition my 4-year-old into homeschooling. I told Jenna I thought it was great she was considering home education and assured her that if she ever needed guidance, I'd be happy to help. I see you. I think Jenna's going to be like, you should homeschool my kids. You should just teach my kids.
What's another pair of kids?
Yeah, what's another 2 kids? I thought that would be the end of it, but boy, was I wrong. Jenna looked confused and turned to Tom as if I was missing something. Tom buried his head in his shirt. My husband noticed and asked if everything was okay. Jenna then said she had just assumed that since I'd be watching the twins when she went back to work in 2 months, I would also be the one to provide their education when the time came. When did OP agree that she was watching the kids?
Remember whenever she said she, teaches her own kids? That's when she agreed to teach mine.
Oh,
remember?
Lord.
Don't you remember that part?
Lordy,
It was
Lord.
in fine print. You must have not read it.
Entitled. Yeah, you must have not read it when I didn't write it there. I'm sorry. When was there ever an agreement for me to watch the twins once you go back to work? I said. Jenna said, well, seeing as you don't work, Tom and I thought it just made the most sense for the twins to come here rather than pay for childcare since we can't afford it. I recognize that not affording childcare is a big problem for a lot of people, but that is not OP's problem.
Yeah.
That's your problem. As the parents,
Yeah.
it's your problem. And you can ask for help from other people, but if they say no, it's not
Gotta
their
figure
problem.
that out.
It's not their problem.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I quickly looked to my husband for support, and he confirmed that no conversation about this had ever taken place. Jenna insisted that it would just be like when I was in the hospital. She explained that the twins would come to us, meaning me, when both she and Tom were at work. She said it made the most sense for them. Yeah, getting free childcare. Of course that makes the most sense for you.
What?
She even added, don't worry, it's not like we're going to expect you to cook meals and everything like last time, although it would be appreciated from time to time. Y'all are the most freaking, just entitled people I ever met.
Can we do like a small little rabbit hole? Just a small. Whenever we have our houses.
Yeah.
Sophia and our compound has figured it out. We could probably have like each day we can go to one person's house and they have like family dinners or whatever.
I would love that.
Yeah, it's like Mondays at my house,
I'll cook.
Tuesdays.
Tuesday cook.
And if you can make it great, if not, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And like, it'd be
And we
super
all
fun.
take care of our kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like, oh yeah, the honors are gonna come over. The
Ah,
whole Donners are coming
all
over.
of the Donners.
Oh, we got all the
The Donner
Donners.
party.
We got the Donner party and the fry party here.
Oh,
Yeah.
What's
That'd be
going
nice.
on?
this is our compound.
Yeah, we got a compound. You want to join?
Oh, no.
We're going to get back to the story, but Sam, you have a copious amount of something.
What, John?
X's.
I have like 4 or 5 or 6.
I heard of 6 with a 0
All
behind
right,
it.
that 60 number, comes from somewhere else.
Where does that come from?
It comes from our OK Storytime membership.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Join a club almost as exclusive as Sam's X is. Well, let's get back to the story.
I honestly didn't know where to look or what to say. Thankfully, at that moment, my 2-year-old started fussing, tired from the evening. My mother-in-law, apparently sensing the awkwardness, quickly stood up and offered to take her to bed. I thanked her, and sensing the conversation wasn't ending anytime soon, encouraged my 4-year-old to follow Grandma upstairs and help her find everything she needed to settle our youngest. Both older boys, also picking up on the tension, excused themselves and headed outside to the little man cave I had set up for them in the shed. They're like, "Ooh, let's go." That just left me, my husband, Tom, Jenna, Ashley, and John sitting around the table. The twins were asleep in the next room in their pram. The conversation continued with Jenna excitedly talking about how much she was looking forward to returning to work in a few months. My husband, noticing how uncomfortable I was, took the lead. He firmly stated that at no point had anyone discussed with either of us the idea of me watching the twins while they worked. To be clear, this would mean 5 days a week: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday.
Oh, what?
Jenna responded that she didn't think it would be that big of a deal since, in her words, OP just stays home with the kids all day anyway. It's not like it would be any real hardship. Then you do it.
Yeah,
Then
how
you
about
do
how about
it.
you watch them 5
How
days
about
out of the
you
week?
watch your own kids 5 days out of the week?
Oh, she already has so many. Like, it probably won't even be that
That's
big of a
2
deal.
more. Why don't you watch your own kids?
Yeah.
I hate this person.
Weird.
At that, my husband defended me again. He pointed out that that of everyone at the table, I arguably worked the hardest since I was raising 4 children, maintaining a home, and taking full responsibility for their education. He told them that if they perceived that as me not doing anything, then they were welcome to try it themselves. Parent your own
Yes.
kids. I like your husband. Tom looked embarrassed and horrified. Jenna, on the other hand, looked offended. She then said that at least her children were related to mine.
Ooh.
You about to make a crack at that 17-year-old?
Ooh.
You about to say something about the OP's literal like adopted son?
Ooh, I think so.
I'm sensing OP's about to
believe
throw
so.
hands.
If you're trying to get someone on your side
Don't
and you're
attack 'em.
out here saying that,
Yeah.
dude.
Y'all don't know. Unlike my 17-year-old godson, since he was just dumped on your laps a few years ago. This is where I may be the a-hole. I lost it. Girl, you're not the a-hole. Yeah, if you poke a bear and they lash out, that's on you.
Yeah, that's
This is on
the
her.
person with the stick in their hand.
I told her in no uncertain terms, how dare she come into my home and talk about my 17-year-old that way. He wasn't dumped on us. His mother and I had been best friends since before Jenna was even born. When my friend was dying, her one wish was that he come to live with me because I was the one constant he had known in his entire life. His biological father had emigrated to New Zealand when he was 2 and had never even returned for a visit. Until I met my husband, my best friend and I had raised our boys as single mothers side by side. There was nowhere else in the world that my godson belonged more than in my home.
Yeah.
Jenna immediately tried to backtrack, saying all she meant was that if I didn't mind caring for someone else's child full time, she didn't see why I would have an issue caring for her children part time.
Time out. You're just trying to switch this up and you're trying to
Yeah.
manipulate this in a way that works for you.
Girly. I would literally be like, I don't want to see you guys ever again.
Well, that was nice. You're not
Bye.
getting any more chicken parm pie.
Yeah. I'm not cooking for y'all ever again.
That would suck, dude. Ugh.
John, bless him, looked extremely uncomfortable and excused himself to go upstairs and help mother-in-law wrangle the little ones into bed. I told Jenna that whilst I loved the twins, I was not in a position to commit to watching them for that much time. Every reason I gave, she countered. I told her that I don't have a 7-seater car, so if I made this commitment, I'd be committed to either having to keep all the children in the house or leaving the older 2 boys at home so I could have enough space in the car for my 2 youngest plus the twins. She didn't see an issue with that since the boys are old enough to be left. I pointed out that part of our home education plan involved regularly driving my 14-year-old to day trips and social gatherings to ensure he's not missing out on anything. And I wouldn't be able to do this if I was also caring for her twins because of the car space. She said, well, he's already got 3 GCSEs, so surely he can just ride it out until he's 16 and head off to college with just those 3. This woman doesn't know anything about parenting.
She doesn't, and she
doesn't have
care.
a freaking clue.
She's like, oh, let me delegate this.
Yeah, you can't delegate your parenting, girl.
And you were right. They aren't kid people. It doesn't
No.
seem like she wants to take any responsibility.
Yeah, Opie
care
said
of
that
her
at the beginning. Oh, I didn't expect these people to have kids. They don't want these kids.
They don't.
They want you. They want the optics of having kids, but they want you to take care of them. I told her that's absolutely not how it works, and that she would have to come up with an alternative arrangement. The conversation went back and forth for some time. Tom was mostly quiet. Ashley looked like a deer in headlights aside from the odd smirk, and my husband was firmly on my side of things. Jenna, however, was insistent this made the most sense for her family and couldn't understand why I was being so unreasonable. Basically, the gist of it was that Tom and Jenna had assumed I'd have no issue taking care of the twins for them for free. They wanted me to have them for 5 days a week, including a Sunday, which is the 1 day a week my husband is guaranteed to have off work, so we allocate it for family time. Sometime later, my mother-in-law appeared back downstairs, having successfully gotten my 2-year-old settled into bed. She told me that my 4-year-old was asking for me to read him a story. I excused myself and headed upstairs. I spent a little extra time on his bedtime reading, mainly because it was birthday and I felt bad that dinner had turned into this. I hoped that by the time I came back, the conversation would have moved on. I doubt it. Because they haven't gotten what they wanted.
They haven't gotten what they wanted, and they still got to put these kids in someone else's hands
they
besides
still
their
gotta
own.
hand these kids off. 20 minutes later, I couldn't have been more wrong. When I got back downstairs, my husband was still arguing with his brother and Jenna about the situation.
What kind of crazy town did you guys just come from?
I'd be like, you guys need to leave now. I don't want to see you.
Right freaking now.
Right freaking now. I noticed when I glanced at the doorway that the twins' pram wasn't in the other room, so I asked where they were. Jenna stated that they'd woken up fussy, and since they were trying to make my husband see sense, they asked my 14-year-old and 17-year-old to occupy them, and now they're handing off the kids to yet another group.
What?
She then made a comment about how easy it would be for me to have twins because my boys were capable of helping.
What?
Ooh, let's parentify
They're
the kids real quick.
kids. They're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's like, okay, you guys can parent my kids. And Opie's like, no. And she's like, okay, what about your kids can parent my kids?
No.
Also, the one that she literally said, you can just get rid of, like, you already have like a random kid dumped on you.
What's too much?
She just insulted that kid, and now she's like, oh, you have to parent my kids too.
Oh yeah, by the way, you can parent my kid.
That really rubbed
Make
me
it make
the
sense.
wrong way. It's rubbing me the wrong way. She made disparaging remarks about my lifestyle, which was one thing, but asking my children to watch her twins just so she could argue her point further did something to me. I removed myself from the room and went out to the shed. To be clear, this is basically a fully functioning room. It has heating, electricity, etc.
I want a shed like this now.
That sounds sick. Yeah, well, we do have kind of a shed. We just don't have heating.
Oh yeah, we don't have heating.
Yeah.
It is almost fully functional.
Yeah.
But I meant like a shed to play video games in.
Like a video game shed.
Yeah.
It's not fair. Well,
Gamer shed. Gamer shed.
Once
Gamer
we have our
shed.
game channel fully functional, we'll just make a whole gaming corner in there.
Where would we put it? In that closet?
Yeah. In the closet, and we'll have bean bags.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's a special place I created for my older 2 boys to escape from the craziness of having younger children around. They hang out in there. They've got their game system, a mini fridge, and their own space. Neither of my younger children have ever been in there because I've made sure it's a safe place for my older boys to retreat to. I don't agree with parentifying children. Good on you,
Let's
OP.
freaking go, OP.
When I got there, I saw my 17-year-old desperately trying to calm one of the twins while my 14-year-old was rocking the pram with his foot to keep the other one asleep. I apologized to them, strapped the baby my 17-year-old was holding back into the pram, and took the twins back inside. I told Jenna she needed to leave my house and go home to tend to her babies. At this point, I was done. The audacity had gone too far. Tom was trying to encourage Jenna to leave, and this was when Ashley decided to have her say. She told Jenna that if she'd known what a witch I was, she'd never have wanted to come to dinner anyway. She said I was clearly unhinged, only cared for myself, and didn't know what the meaning of family was. So this is the mother-in-law now?
Yeah.
Girl, I'm sorry. If you have anything to say about someone who is not the parent of these kids, not parenting these kids, then you do it. You
Also,
take care of these kids.
The only way I'm saying yes to this offer is if she signs a contract that the kids stay with me until they're 23.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm adopting these kids then.
I'm adopting
If
these
you're
kids.
I'm adopting them.
And I also have a business on the side. So they have to work for me
They've got to work
until they're 23.
Dang,
We're paying them.
Work.
We're paying them.
We're paying them. It's
because it works as our
indentured
taxes.
servitude.
As tax reduction, and they'll be fine. But we have workers to work at the sawmill. That's what I'd be doing. I'll be like, oh, 2 helpers. Heck yeah, I got them. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. They can start picking green beans when they're 7, when they're 5.
That's what children are for.
They can start working. They can start shoveling at 4.
This mother-in-law is crazy.
Handfuls.
Literally, I'd just be like, okay, you take care of the kids. If you think that if I don't know what the meaning of family is, then you take care of the kids.
Yep, I take care of the kids when they're 4. They start working at the sawmill. In between the like lumber going down the green chain, we have a teacher teaching them how to like add.
Exactly.
And they have like a little.
How many lumber are on the?
How many did you count today?
Yeah.
And they do like they write the ABCs on the lumber with Mark, and they do addition to subtraction on it.
If I split the lumber into 4, what fraction is that? Unfortunately, my 17-year-old had followed me back inside and did not take kindly to Ashley talking to me that way. He told her to never speak to me like that again. Mother-in-law was desperately trying to keep the peace, but I was done.
Shout out to the 17-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Is Ashley not the mother-in-law?
I don't think
This
so.
is mother-in-law who's Ashley?
Is that the sister? So,
Can someone remind me who Ashley is?
I think Ashley.
Ashley's the 20-year-old.
Oh, Mimi says, I think Ashley is the sister, not mother-in-law. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Ashley is the sister, and then John is the brother, and Jenna is the sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
Yes. A lot of characters here.
My 17-year-old told Ashley that if she didn't leave, he'd remove her himself since he was closer to her age than anyone else was. Jenna then told him to watch his mouth or he would have to deal with her since he wasn't even family.
Pop, pop. Pop, pop.
Bam! Bam! Bam!
Get a taste of your own medicine.
That was the final straw. I started counting down from 10 and told her to get out of my house. Honestly, the whole thing was ridiculous, and my poor 4-year-old's birthday meal had been totally hijacked. Jenna, Ashley, Tom, and their babies left. Mother-in-law's special friend also saw fit to leave. I took some time to talk to my boys, especially my 17-year-old, because that boy had been through so much, and this is his home. He was okay, he's neurodiverse and has additional needs, but he is fiercely protective of me and his now siblings.
Aw.
Mother-in-law helped my husband clear the table. When I got back from speaking to the older boys, mother-in-law apologized. She said she had been told beforehand that I would be watching the twins, but had assumed it was a mutual agreement between us. I assured her it hadn't been. She admitted she felt bad that she wasn't able to help Tom and Jenna more than she currently does. Honestly, if I had had the capacity to do it, I likely would have. But 5 days a week was way too much, especially when it hadn't even been discussed. It had just been assumed. It's been a week now, and Jenna has been blocked by me after blowing up my phone with calls and texts about how rude I was to her. Tom stopped by the other night in an attempt to smooth things over and asked if there was any way I'd be willing to help with childcare. I reiterated that as much as I love and adore the twins, I just can't take on that level of commitment and still maintain my 14-year-old's education. I think you also say, even if I could, I don't want to because you guys are incredibly rude. And you guys suck.
Self-absorbed.
Yeah.
Because I know the second you hand off the twins,
Yeah.
there's going to be
They're taking,
more.
you give them an inch, take it a mile.
They're going to, hey, can you also do this? Hey, can you also
Yeah.
attend my house? And before
Now
you
we're
know
having
it,
more kids.
you're going to be weed eating in their house as they're sipping on lemonade inside watching a baseball game.
And you're like fanning them while feeding them grapes. I've worked way too hard on his education for the past decade to let it fall apart now. I did offer to have the twins one day a week on. You're too nice, OP. You are too freaking nice.
Maybe they were just looking for one day and they were like, let's
Yeah.
start with 5.
Yeah,
see if
and
we
then
get
work
one.
there, yeah. Because that's the one day my son doesn't have any commitments that require me to leave the house. But besides that, there really isn't anything more I can do. We are part of a very large homeschooling community in our area and have lots of clubs and groups we attend. Even my youngest 2 are involved in them. But getting to these activities requires a car. And like I said, I physically wouldn't be able to fit all of the children in my 5-seater car. Tom even suggested to my husband that we purchase a bigger car since there are 6 of us anyway. But honestly, it's never been an issue. My husband and I both have cars, so when he's around, if we're all going somewhere, we just use both. It's never been a big deal until now. After Tom left, my husband asked if I'd be interested in getting a bigger car. I told him I wasn't opposed to the idea since running just one car for family outings would be cheaper in the long run. However, I wasn't keen because it would give Tom and Jenna the idea that I now had space for the twins. 4 kids under 5 plus 2 teenagers 5 days a week is just too much. My 14-year-old also has additional needs that require one-on-one time for his education. Right now, our younger 2 are on a pretty good schedule that allows me to make that happen. But if I had 2 babies in the house for most of the week, plus needing to focus more heavily on my 4-year-old's education, I just wouldn't have the time to give my son the attention he needs. And honestly, call me petty, but after the way Jenna spoke about me and my 17-year-old, I'm not inclined to do anything more to help than the one Tuesday a week I already agreed to.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Dude, you're already giving so much. 1 day a week is a lot.
It is. It's
For people
too
who
much.
mistreat you.
Yeah.
We found our mother-in-law has agreed to take the twins on a Sunday as she doesn't work weekends. So that left Tom and Jenna with having to find childcare for 3 days a week. Jenna still hasn't let up. I unblocked her this morning to message her because I found out she's been texting my 2 older boys asking them to ask me to reconsider, etc. She even told 14-year-old that having the twins around would help him feel more a part of the family. Let me remind you, these people have always been indifferent to the older 2 boys. Mother-in-law has always loved and doted on all 4 of my children. It's just Tom and Jenna that view the older 2 differently. I zoned out reading that.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know. You zone out a lot.
What did I just read?
You have fully comprehended how to zone out in any time
That's
at all.
crazy.
It's like a superpower. You know how people freeze time? You know how to zone out.
Whoa. Sorry, I just was fully thinking about getting a C in 3rd grade.
Oh, I got a C in 3rd grade too. I was thinking about starting a new
Whoa.
YouTube channel. And it was going to be reading bedtime stories to kids.
That's insane. Sorry, does anyone know what happened just then?
You want to
Yes.
reread that one more time?
Just
Just
go
to-
back one sentence and I can
Go
tell
back
you.
one page. Just go back one page to just refresh your mind.
Okay.
Hey,
just
you're-
show it on screen.
Hey, look at us. Look at us. You're okay.
What just
You're-
happened?
You're
That
perfect,
because
but just
I
that moment.
never
Put it on
stopped
Put it on
reading.
Notion.
Yeah, you're good.
That was
you're
really
good.
strange.
Here you go. Okay, just
I don't know how I did that. Jenna still doesn't let I unblocked her this morning to message her
Don't
because I
read it
think
fast.
I read it. I read it well.
Just
I don't
read
think
it
I need
again.
to reread it. I think I
it's
just
like
need to reread
it's
it.
like when you drive the car and you're driving for a long time and you're like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you
That's
did.
how it.
When
Yeah. I
you're
just went
scrolling on
autopilot.
Instagram and driving down the road and you're like, oh, I finally made it.
What?
Okay.
What are you doing in the car?
Excellent. I'm ready.
Are you good? Take
Yeah.
a deep breath. Everyone, take a deep
Dang,
breath.
Man, that was weird.
Get back on track.
So as of this morning, I rescinded my offer to help on a Tuesday too. Let them figure it out.
There we go.
As you should.
There we go. There we go.
As you should.
Yep. And
You don't owe them a Tuesday.
Yep.
You don't owe them any day.
Because OP, what are you getting out of this?
Nothing. They're not paying you.
No money.
They're not freaking paying you.
You don't even know these kids. You
Yeah.
don't even like these people.
You don't like them. They suck.
You're getting
They
no
freaking suck.
labor out of these children.
Yeah.
Come back around when they are able to lift a rock, and maybe we'll talk.
When they're allowed to when they can lift a rock.
Yeah,
when they're like 3 and they
well,
can
whenever
lift a
you
rock.
till a garden, there's rocks and sticks. So then
when
you
they
put them.
when they can be put to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Riley's on this
Oh,
train of
man.
making them work.
You gotta make
If
it work.
I'm tending other kids, if
Yeah,
I'm
for
tending
free?
take care for free, they're gonna have to give me something.
they gotta pull their weight.
I also saw in the chat someone had a dog and they're like, my beagle needs a job. Treats and tennis balls are expensive, and I was thinking, how can my dog pay itself rent?
What?
Like, how can it pay for its own food? How can it pay for its toys and everything?
Make it an Instagram.
Oh,
Okay, there it
there
is.
we have it. Nicole H says your brain heard all that BS and it just went straight out the other ear. I was like, I can't listen to this.
That is actually smart because I do. If I get a job, I want it to be self-sustaining in its own way.
Yeah.
A
I like
what?
that.
A dog?
Yeah.
Oh, you said okay.
He wanted to be able to pay for itself. My husband is sad because this has caused a rift between him and his brother, but he totally supports me in my decision, especially after seeing the messages that Jenna sent to 14-year-old. I hate that he's sad, but feel strongly that I made the right decision. Mother-in-law has said she's staying out of the argument because she's worried Jenna will use any stance she takes as a way to alienate her from the twins' lives. So after all that, am I the a-hole? I'm going to be honest, mother-in-law. One, there is an update. 2, you're not the a-hole. 3, I think if the mother-in-law just says, I'll take care of the kids, they won't cut her out of the life. Whatever she says. You know, if she stands up for OP, but she's like, I'll take care of the kids on Tuesday, they'll be like, okay, cool. Because they need someone to take care of these kids for free.
Yeah.
So I feel like the mother-in-law is being kind of a coward, honestly. Like, I feel like they're not going to kick her out as long as she gives them childcare, because that's what they're desperate. Yeah, MJ Gross says she's desperate for childcare.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is an update.
There is an update that is pretty wild.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, why are we handing these kids off?
Yeah. Just parent your kids.
I agree with whatever Sophia said.
Thank you. I said parent your kids. Parent your kids or pay for childcare. I understand that
It's
you
in my
guys are
room.
like, you don't have a lot of money, which is like a
room's
huge
messy.
problem, but like, stop making it other people's problems. And there is an update.
Let's go. Riley, make your dog their own YouTube channel and teach it tricks to work for its food and board.
You should teach the
my God.
the dog how to like press the buttons.
This is what you do. You say, you have a stream and it's just like it's this area, but there's nothing here. And you say, if you donate, we'll bring the dog on.
Okay,
And
that's
every
one
$1 we bring the dog on for a minute.
I think I will start a social media like, all right, this guy needs to pay for its
Oh.
rent and
like
board.
a puppy cam.
GoFundMe.
We should get like a puppy cam.
Yeah.
Puppy cam?
Aw,
Okay.
Puppy cam. We
Puppy
put
cam.
like a little GoPro on the dog.
Okay.
And it's like, so that you can still see the dog. It's the train guy, you know, the train guy who like has a GoPro on his face.
Yeah.
And it's like that.
It's like his eyes are
and
like.
he's like, trains, I love trains.
Well, you could probably
And
get a
it's that for
GoPro
the dog.
camera and have it live feed, so then if someone donates, it shows for like a split second.
I'm
what's
gonna get a
going on.
goat and call it a GoPro.
Goats are not that expensive, by the way.
And they pay for themselves because they clean the backyard.
Look at you,
Update.
Sophia.
I'm
Yeah.
back.
Ooh, we should do goat
But you-
yoga.
Would be
It's
fun.
actually surprisingly expensive. Guess how much it would cost for an hour of goat yoga?
$300.
$350.
Dang,
Oh.
I wasn't that all
For how many people? Just like in general?
Just to
One.
bring them out, because you gotta
Dang.
think, you gotta put them in a trailer, you gotta bring them out to wherever, and then you gotta let them run around, and then you gotta put them back in the trailer and do it. It's just transportation is the most. But we can just go to my house and do goat yoga.
Yeah, we just do yoga with your goats.
Yeah.
Do you have goats?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You didn't know that? Pygmy goats and Nigerian dwarf goats.
Dang, that's cool.
Yep.
He's
There's an
talking about
update.
these goats. These goats are like the best goats around. supposedly.
No, that was some lady that came to our.
Yeah. But you talked about it and like you could have the best goats around.
I could because they're the same breed.
Yeah.
For sure. Update. Hey, it's been a little while now since I posted about my brother-in-law and his girlfriend hijacking my son's 4th birthday with some insane ideas that I'd be providing full-time free childcare for their infant twins. Anyone following the comments would have seen the screenshots where Jenna wound up uninvited for Christmas after she repeatedly insulted my teenage children, simply for
Ooh.
existing.
Finally, some consequences.
Oy, oy, oy. Not because they done anything wrong. My husband supported me, and when I spoke to my mother-in-law in the following days, she was understanding and shared that she would still be attending our family Christmas. Good. My husband Joe still tried to maintain some semblance of a relationship with his brother Tom, but he kept his distance where Jenna was concerned. Yeah, I mean, they're both crazy. Dog. Cute. Whose dog is that?
My dog back home,
What's on the dog's head? What
It's
is
a
that?
little hat. It's a little beanie.
Oh, it's a little beanie.
That's so cute.
I was like, what is that?
That's so cute.
That was like a wig.
Sorry, guys.
What's
It
your
was
dog's
relevant.
name? What's your dog's name?
Gracie.
Gracie.
Cute.
Aw.
It got quiet for a while. Then the week leading up to Christmas, Jenna started up again. She was messaging Joe and my 2 older boys, 17 and 14, saying she'd gotten them gifts for Christmas and asking if they'd like to come by and collect them. She also invited us all to their house for dinner on December 22nd. I was reluctant to agree, but my husband and mother-in-law were hopeful we'd all be able to move past everything. I spoke to the boys, and my 14-year-old was okay with going. My 17-year-old wasn't too keen on it if I wasn't going to attend. So I agreed to go with the understanding that if he felt uncomfortable at all, we'd leave. When December 22nd rolled around, we loaded all the kids as well as the twins' presents into both cars. Just as we were about to leave, my 17-year-old started experiencing a severe panic attack.
Oh, no.
Joe and I agreed that I would stay home with him, so we moved the little ones over to his car and he headed off. Since Tom and Jenna live only 15 minutes away, I figured they'd be back in a few hours. I went back inside with my 17-year-old and we put on his favorite Christmas movie, the one he used to watch with his mom every year before she passed. Oh, we were looking forward to a quiet couple of hours together. Not even halfway into the movie, the front door burst open, and my 2-year-old and 4-year-old came running in excitedly, waving new toys in the air.
Okay.
Looking-
I thought it was like
Yeah, I
the
thought it was
twins
Jenna,
came in or
yeah.
something.
Looking past them, I saw my husband, who had a face like thunder, and my 14-year-old, who looked absolutely heartbroken and defeated. I quickly got the little ones set up to play in their bedroom before heading back downstairs to find out what had happened. My 14-year-old handed me 2 gift bags. One had his name on it, and the gifts inside had already been opened. We think 17-year-olds is exactly the same, he muttered. I don't know how to put into words the anger I felt. For a bit of context that I lightly touched on last time, both my 17-year-old and 14-year-old are neurodiverse. They have difficulties with food and differing presentations of autism. Neither boy is overly keen on eating full meals, and they gravitate towards more beige foods. Over the
Beige
years,
or binge?
this is beige. I'm assuming like plain foods.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
We did that yesterday. Where like someone was dating pretty much the color beige. Like they were just a boring guy.
Oh,
Got it. Because
Over-
I'm like, I thought it was binge foods because I know someone that we work with that also binges foods, and I'm like,
Who binges foods?
who's the person that has something that they always will reheat over and over and over again and then eat it later?
is this John?
Yeah.
It's true.
Because I'm like, if that's the case, we could just have little snacks for him. Like it's like a little egg hunt, and he's like, "Oh, I found a snack," and then he eats it, and then like a little bit later, it's still
He's
there.
just a snacker.
He's a snacker.
He's a
He hates to
snacker.
admit it. He makes himself full meals, but he just snacks.
He's a snacker. Yeah, he's not a binger. He's a snacker.
Yeah, I worry for John like he's my great grandpa. Like the
John's
worry
dad. I'm telling you, John's
The
dad.
worry I
Papa.
have for my great grandpa, I have the same amount for John. and I
Yeah.
don't know why.
That's funny.
I'm telling. Did you before we get back to the story? Sorry. Did you see how he did with the bobbing for apples yesterday?
I'm looking that up right now.
You
I
have.
didn't
I'm
see
t-
it.
I'm
Did he
looking
do
that
well?
up right now.
Far from it.
Dang. I
I'm
think I
looking.
could maybe do well just because of I have tenacity, but also I don't want to get wet.
You don't really get. I don't know. For this one, they didn't get really wet, but
Thanks, Ryan. Over the years, I've found plenty of ways to work around this and have managed to get different foods into their diets, but vegetables, that's a hill they're both willing to pass away on. Unless I'm super sneaky with them, veggies rarely make it past their plates. If they're incorporated into a meal like mac and cheese with broccoli and sweet corn or pasta dishes where everything is combined, they'll eat them. But if I were to serve a roast with vegetables on the side, they'd leave them untouched. It's fine, we work around it, and they're both super healthy kids. Now, a bit more context. In England, in the run-up to Christmas, what are you doing?
he's watching it.
Oh, he's watching
You
the
gotta watch it
bobbing
with
for
sound though. I'm
apples.
telling you, the sound. I was
We're taking a
crying.
pause because I want to watch John.
Just put out the
these
sound. Put on the sound.
apples.
Wait, put on the sound.
Put on the sound.
Squeaky Girl, aka Colleen, has donated $100. Love you guys. You put a smile on my face every stream, and we love you. And time, John. Dakota, click it.
Guys, go to live stream yesterday and go to 3 hours and 46 minutes.
I'm just realizing that like how much like just grossness must be in that water once like if you do it at like a party.
Yeah, you
'Cause
don't think
everyone's
about
like,
it.
I mean, I was watching it and I was like, no.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Especially John and Dakota. No.
In England, in the run up to Christmas, supermarkets run promotions where 4 or 5 vegetables are sold for £15 each. A packet of potatoes, a bag of carrots, a bag of parsnips, a bag of sprouts, etc. Sounds great. Can you guess what the gifts Jenna so lovingly went out of her way to buy my 2 older boys? Yep, in my 14-year-old's gift bag were a bag of white potatoes, a bag of carrots, a bag of sprouts, a bag of parsnips, 1 head of broccoli, and half a Swede. What's a Swede in this context?
It's half of Josephine.
Hey Siri, what's a Swede?
Swede? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing. Oh, what is that?
A Swede.
Is it a radish?
It looks like
Yeah,
a
it
radish.
looks like a little radish.
I kind of want to try a Swede now.
Swedish turnip.
Oh, it's a turnip.
It's a rutabaga.
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 Okay, you say it then. A rutabaga or Swede that is a root vegetable.
Oh, rutabaga is a Swede?
Yeah.
Is that like a...
Interesting.
Oh, I did not know that. I love rutabaga. Do you like rutabaga?
And everyone, put them in the chat
Did we just get a
from Hannah. Everyone,
strong silence?
put it in the chat.
Thank you,
All right.
Hannah.
My 17-year-old's gift bag was still wrapped, but it was pretty obvious that it contained the same. Yes, you read that right. This woman had spent 90 pence per child on a bag of vegetables. Vegetables they won't eat. I was seething. And my younger 2, you ask? Well, my 2-year-old was gifted a light-up princess tiara and a wand, and Disney princess bubble wand and some fairy wings. My 4-year-old received an army tank with figurines, a Duplo train, and a plush shark. He's obsessed with sharks right now. They both also got a chocolate selection box each. Joe said that as soon as my 14-year-old opened his gift, Jenna laughed and said she was doing him a favor by trying to expand his limited palate. I'm about to expand the amount of punches that are being introduced to your face.
About to expand your face circumference because remember in Invincible
Pound
when Omni-Man and the other guy
Oh, yeah.
and they expanded his face.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of a spoiler, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, way to spoil it.
You don't even know what I'm talking about.
I watch Invincible.
Well, you've already seen that episode.
Yeah, you were there.
Still.
You're complaining about something you shouldn't be complaining about.
I'm complaining for the people.
My 14-year-old excused himself to the shed, and like the amazing older sibling he is, my 17-year-old followed him. Joe told me that 14-year-old had been silent the entire ride home. After reeling off a list of expletives I'm not proud of, I calmed myself down and went to talk to the boys. My 14-year-old asked me if he always ruined family meals because he didn't eat vegetables.
No, you just made it better because you didn't
You
eat
can
the
eat
good
the
stuff.
vegetables, yeah. I would be like, I get more for me.
I remember when my parents wanted me and my brother to eat vegetables, and then we liked them, and then they regretted it the second. Like, oh, so there's no more Brussels sprouts
Dang
left.
it. Yeah,
Huh.
dude, when I feel like I've always mostly liked vegetables, but there are certain things that I didn't eat, but like vegetables are so good, man.
I
When you
love
realize
vegetables.
when you're a kid and you realize that vegetables are freaking delicious.
I'm more of a veggies guy than fruits guy.
Same. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I love fruits, but like potatoes,
Those exotic fruits give me a minute.
freaking green beans.
My gut system is not made to digest those
All
kind
the
of fruits.
fruits. We had a
Oh,
lot
well,
of fruits.
I called it. I was like, get ready, guys, because there's a lot of fiber in
I
these
love it.
fruits.
I told him that was far from the truth, that everyone has foods they like and don't like. I reminded him that even dad, technically his stepdad, but 14-year-old chooses to call him dad, eats lots of foods that I don't like. We turned it into a little game of listing foods we each disliked but that others enjoyed. I reassured him that Jenna was clearly going through something, but that she had absolutely no excuse for treating him and his brother that way. Both boys were confused, rightfully so, because Jenna had literally reached out to them, saying she'd gotten them gifts. She had completely set them up to be humiliated.
Why?
I didn't want to comfort Jenna immediately, so I left it for a few hours. Oh, confront. I was like, why would you comfort her? I didn't want to confront Jenna immediately, so I left it for a few hours. That's when phone started blowing up. What happened next can only be described as ironically beautiful karma. Earlier in the day, when we'd loaded the cars to head to Jenna and Tom's house, one of the twins' gift bags had been placed in the boot of my car. In the chaos of switching cars after my 17-year-old decided to stay home, it inadvertently got overlooked.
I see you.
Okay.
I see you.
So my next contact from Jenna that evening was a string of semi-abusive text messages about how dare we only buy for one of the twins and not the other. Okay, I see. So one of the gift bags got left in the car by accident for the twins.
Also, why would you care?
She has the audacity to say, like, how dare you didn't get my baby. Don't even think baby a gift when I humiliated your two sons.
Yep. Also, fun fact, I didn't get my little brothers anything for Christmas until last Christmas because I knew they would not even remember because they're getting gifts from everyone else. They're not going to remember what I got them. And then I got them a big present. I got them an Xbox.
Nice.
And my little brother cried.
That's a good gift.
They
It's
were
a good
crying.
big brother gift.
I saw him. I got it. He was like,
Oh,
I don't know what we're going to do this year. Like, I actually have like adult money now.
Step it up.
And I'm like, crap.
Yeah,
Like, we're
when
gonna
Sam
start
got
paying for
adult
his
money, I
401k.
started getting good gifts, man.
Yeah.
He took me to, like, the first really good gift. He took me to London. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Dang.
It went from, we started with a Wii one year. I
Oh,
was like,
nice.
whoa, he got me a Wii.
Wait, who took you to London?
Sam.
Oh, dang.
Dang.
For my birthday. She went on about how awful it must have made them feel to be singled out like that. It was a genuine oversight, and to be clear, the twins are not even 6 months old. They definitely would not have noticed. My kids, however, they've tolerated years of this BS, and Jenna had gone too far. The best part, she followed it up with a message that I had better correct that mistake by the time they came for dinner Christmas Day. She was not invited for dinner. She hasn't been since last month, and it was not open for change. That evening, once the littles were in bed and Joe was playing Call of Duty with the older boys, I set off to Jenna and Tom's house, gifts in tow. When I knocked on the door, Tom answered, his face pale. I handed him the missing gift bag for the other twin and explained that it had been left behind by mistake. He was full of excuses, claiming he had no idea what Jenna had done until he saw my 14-year-old open the gifts. He said they had been arguing about it all evening and that he was at his wit's end with her. Ooh, freaking, cry me a river.
Okay.
Little violin for you. I put one hand up and told him, wait. Okay, sorry.
They
I
don't
was
love me
sick
like
of the
I love you.
excuses. What?
What was that from?
Wait. They don't love you like I love you. Wait. They don't
love you like
It's just a TikTok. Then I asked to speak with Jenna.
The professionals I work with, guys.
He invited me inside.
You want to work? You want to have kids work for you?
Guys, my biceps.
Yeah,
hurt.
they'd
My
probably
bicep
they'd know
hurts.
how to. They'd be locked in.
It hurts.
What did you do?
I don't know. I think I'm flexing too much, man. I'm covered in bruises actually from climbing.
Give me a flex.
It hurts. It hurts to
Then
flex.
maybe you shouldn't climb.
No, I have to. Jenna saw me and immediately jumped to her feet, making excuses about needing to tend to her babies. I told her that surely Tom could handle it, and Tom, catching on, quickly excused himself and went upstairs. I turned to Jenna and asked her what the heck her problem was with my kids, why she felt the need to single them out and make them feel bad for existing. She rolled her eyes and snapped back, asking why it mattered when it was evident I didn't care about hers. I reminded her that this whole thing started because she assumed I would watch her babies full time, and when I couldn't, she decided to be vindictive. I told her she had taken things too far by pretending to extend an olive branch to my children, only to try and humiliate them.
Ooh.
She rolled her eyes again and muttered that if it was such a big deal, she'd have Tom pick up a gift card for each of them before they came over on Christmas Day. Y'all aren't coming over on Christmas Day, girly.
Yeah, I think you
Y'all aren't coming.
messed that up.
Girly, you're not invited.
You're done.
Then she flopped back onto the sofa like she was the one exasperated with me. That was the moment I needed. I reminded her again that she was not welcome in our home, not on Christmas or any other day, that she had crossed the line by humiliating my children, that it was one thing to be indifferent to them as she had been before, but to go out of her way to make them feel small was despicable. Then I tipped out the other gift bag I had been holding, the one filled with all the potatoes and vegetables she had ever so kindly gifted my sons, and dumped it into her lap. I remarked that since she was clearly planning to show up at our house for Christmas dinner, she might need these back to prepare a meal for herself. I love how OP went from like, I am the most helpful person to like, don't freaking mess with me.
Yeah, you got to put your mama bear face on. I was surprised she didn't like, here's the twins thing, take that out, put something else in it, and then put it back in.
Yeah.
Like put a steak in it, be like, oh yeah, you're well, no, that'd be evil towards a twin because like it can't eat it and it choke and die.
Oh, well, OP wasn't there when they opened it.
I know, but
Oh.
they have a twin gift basket.
Oh,
Replacing that.
to the Jennas. Okay, got you. Yeah, but also like the twins wouldn't. Well, I guess the
They wouldn't
parents would
know.
notice. Yeah.
The twins are opening them up. They're like 4.
Yeah,
they're not even
like-
4. They're like
5 months.
they can't even hold their head
Yeah,
up.
they're
They're
like-
like that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah. And then I left. As I pulled out of the driveway, she followed me to the front door and threw a carrot at my windscreen. Yes, this woman was in the street throwing carrots at my car. As I rounded the corner, I caught a glimpse of Tom appearing and ushering her back inside. By the time I got home, Tom had already called my husband to explain what had happened. I hadn't told Joe what I planned to do, only that I needed to pop out for a bit. Not because I was trying to be deceitful, but because I knew he would try to talk me down, and I had had enough. Thankfully, he wasn't mad at me. In fact, he found it mildly amusing when I told him about Jenna chasing me outside and throwing carrots at my car. I checked the car this morning, just in case, and it's fine, no cracks. Then my mother-in-law called. She had already heard about what happened. She wasn't upset, well, not with me anyway. When she found out about Jenna's stunt with my boys, she was furious with both Jenna and Tom. Tomorrow is Christmas, and suffice it to say, we have no plans for Tom, Jenna, or, unfortunately, the twins to join us. I honestly can't believe what this whole saga has turned into, and I feel devastated for my older 2 boys who have clearly been affected. Last night, while I was preparing dinner, my 17-year-old came up to me and said he'd be willing to try cauliflower if it would make me happy. I told him that he could eat whatever he wanted and that there would never be a time when what he does or doesn't eat would affect my happiness. I only care that he's happy.
Aww.
For the record, he didn't eat the cauliflower.
That's funny.
Meanwhile, my 14-year-old has been very withdrawn. Joe took the older boys out to play snooker yesterday. What the heck is snooker? Brits in the chat. What's snooker?
Snooker? I'll look it up.
Hey Siri, what's snooker?
Why should pull up Snooki?
Snooker is a cue sport played on. It's like a pool game.
Wait, can I see? Oh.
Snooker is snooker and pool are cue sports with distinct gameplay and rules. Snooker is played with a larger table with smaller pockets and uses 21 color balls and a white cue ball.
Okay.
It's an English thing.
Hoping to cheer them up, but when they got home, Joe said 14-year-old was unusually quiet. He sat in the corner and didn't join in, which is not like him at all. But you know what is like you guys to do?
Yeah.
Listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. Do it.
With your ear holes.
It's just like you.
Yeah. And I understand being a listener because I have one podcast that I want to listen to, but I can't because there's so much content and I don't have that kind of content during the day. But I'm starting to watch YouTube like a TV show.
I love that.
I also don't have a hobby anymore
Why not?
because I finished my project.
You should just start doing more of that.
But
you
for
could
other
make
people.
like scrapbooks.
For who?
Just like fun ones. Like it doesn't have to be like of a person. It can just be like you cut out magazines and stuff. That'd be fun.
I don't know if I want to do that.
Okay, well you don't have to.
I'll find another hobby.
The objective's not there. I know for Riley, it's just like Angie. So
Yeah,
Angie.
exactly.
I got
Just
you,
get
buddy.
into like bracelet making.
What?
I am in the middle of making a bracelet,
Yeah, then you could make bracelets for her.
but we do that together.
Oh. But there's
Sorry.
a little bit left to this story. And I'm glad that OP stuck to her guns, put her foot down,
Yep.
didn't let Jenna walk all over her.
And I'd be buying the biggest fish I can in my local supermarket and throwing it at her car.
Taste of a fish, brother.
It's stinky.
It's stinky. I'm still beyond live with Jenna, and I don't think I want to come face to face with her anytime in the future. I believe mother-in-law will be visiting Tom and Jenna today, Christmas Eve, to see the babies. Her and John will be spending Christmas Day with us as originally planned. I don't feel like the a-hole any longer. You're not, girl. I feel like my actions were entirely justified given the level of indifference and mockery Jenna showed to my children. But feel free, Reddit, to tell me if I'm wrong. Also, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. You're not wrong, girl. Those people are crazy. But
Merry
that is the end of that
Christmas.
story.
I am Christmas.
And the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a final thought. Jenna sucks.
Yeah.
You're taking good care of your kids. Your excellent parenting skills are impressive, honestly. And I really hope that Tom leaves Jenna.
I was
mean,
about
they
to
have
ask
kids.
that.
They have 2 kids.
Do you
Maybe
think they
can go
would
to-
divorce?
I don't know. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want them to divorce
Do you
because
think
they have
Tom
2
is
kids.
Spicy cat whipped?
I think Tom is cowed for sure.
Cowed, is that what we call it?
There's a
Spicy
word for
cat
it.
whipped.
Like, what's the word? Like when, like about a man, it's like being whipped, but like it's a different word. It's like cowed or something. I'm forgetting the word right now.
You mean the C-U, is it a K?
No,
No.
it's like cowed.
Cowed? Like
But
C-O-W?
but I think there's an actual term for it, but I'm forgetting it. But
I don't
that's
know.
him. Oh my god. But that's him, and I'm thinking of a different word.
I forgot it.
Just
he
gather
sucks.
all the kids.
I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know if they're gonna get divorced. He seems pretty like afraid of Jenna. I think that like I would hope they go to like therapy or something
Yeah.
because they have cuckolded. That's also not the word I was. But
that was the word I was going to say.
that is another word for it.
Yeah.
But that is the end of that story. So we're gonna finish it.
I refuse to share a wedding with my sister. Now the whole family is upset.
Divorced sister.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to share my wedding day with my sister? I, 27 female, have wanted to be married to my fiance, 28 male, for years, and we finally started planning our big day. However, my sister, 25 female, suddenly announced plans for her own wedding on the very same day. Oh boy. By the way, this comes from I Love Frogs and Dogs on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I was shocked and hurt, especially since she never showed any interest in marrying her partner before. Is that your shocked and hurt face?
Yes.
I'm imagining OP perfectly, really painting a picture. Yeah. I told her it's wrong for her to try and share the spotlight, but she insists it's a coincidence and she didn't know. My fiance and I have been together for 5 years, and it was always clear that a big wedding was my dream. I've planned every detail from the venue to the dress, making sure it's perfect. My sister's sudden plan made me feel like she's trying to overshadow me on my special day. Everyone keeps suggesting that we merge the weddings, but I can't stand the idea of sharing the spotlight. I tried to talk it out with her, but she dismisses my feelings and says I'm being selfish. I just want one day that's all about me and my partners. That's so much to ask.
Impossible. You can't have it.
My sister has always been the golden child. Everything has come so easily to her. She has no idea how much planning goes into a wedding, and suddenly she's claiming to have everything arranged for the same day. I feel like she's trying to take away my moment, the one day I've been dreaming about for so long. Am I the a-hole for not wanting this to be my own special day? Shouldn't a sister respect my feelings and find her own date for her wedding? Yes, I've made all the arrangements for my wedding day, including booking the vendors, the caterers, and my actual venue. I even talked to her husband, who was completely in the dark about my sister's plans. I've put down significant non-refundable deposits, and changing the date now would cost me a fortune. Despite this, my sister insists that we share the wedding day, dismissing all the effort and money I've insisted in making it my dream wedding. She keeps saying we can merge the weddings and have one big celebration, but I refuse to compromise my vision for her sudden urge to get married. The thought of sharing my special day with her, having to split attention and resources, feels like a nightmare. She claims it's a coincidence that she picked the same date, but I can't help but notice how convenient it is for her to piggyback off all my planning. Her nonchalance over my hard work and investments is infuriating. Why does she need to do this on my day? My parents keep trying to reason with me, saying that it would be practical and efficient to have the siblings' wedding on the same day. They keep pointing out the money that we could save by combining the events, but they're missing the point.
Yeah, I keep pointing out how dumb you are, and you still don't get that now, do ya?
I've been dreaming about this day since I was a little girl. I don't want to share it with anyone, especially not my sister, who has always overshadowed me. I want to be the center of attention for once.
Illegal.
My parents don't seem to understand the importance of this to me. My partner tries to be supportive, but struggles to understand the depth of my feelings. He thinks I'm being overly dramatic and should be happy for my sister. He says it's just a day, but to me, it's a lifelong dream. Saying it's just a day to your wedding?
You know what else is just a day? Your funeral.
There you go. Despite my explanation, he seems more worried about not rocking the family boat. He wants to keep everyone happy, but I don't think he understands how hurt and overlooked I feel.
Who's gonna care that they have 2 separate weddings? That's what everyone expects.
I feel like parents would know how big a deal this is and want this to be 2 different days.
It proves that the sister's a golden child. Like, it's super clear.
Yeah, that is very true. I also wonder what the parents' wedding was like, and if it was just like a courtroom thing or something to save money.
I think these type of people, they're able to do such mental gymnastics that they just convince themselves through methods unknown. It's truly remarkable.
It really is. Second update. Wow, things have escalated. After the whole wedding debacle, my family seems to be taking sides. Several relatives have actually chosen to drop out of my wedding and attend my sister's instead. Even my maid of honor, the person who's been on my side through all my wedding planning, has decided to be a bridesmaid at my sister's wedding. This feels like a slap in the face. It's not just a date conflict anymore. It feels like an attack on everything I had planned and hoped for. Now my wedding feels like it's falling apart. All the planning, the careful choices, the dreams for the perfect day, they're crumbling. My family's support has vanished, and my closest friend, my maid of honor, has turned on me. Wow. My fiancé keeps trying to soothe me, saying it's not the end of the world, but he doesn't get it. Why does no one understand the importance of a wedding?
Also, I don't know why I keep mishearing words, but I thought you said, instead of soothe me, I thought you said sue me. And I was like, no, Opie's been through enough.
But he's still saying it's not the end of the world. We still have so much more to this. But here's what I think should happen. I think OP should be like, okay, well, if you want to have your own wedding and steal all of our family guests to it, then you should pay me back for all of the non-refundable deposits I've made for my wedding. Boom. There you go. Win-win. She gets her money. She gets her wedding. I mean, she also spends way more money, but that's on her.
And then she's going to do it again, right? Because she's crazy. So she's going to do another wedding. And then she'll be like, okay, bet. All good. Just again, repay me all of the non-refundable and just bleed her dry.
He doesn't see how betrayed I feel, how every happy memory I planned to make on my wedding day is being overshadowed by hurt and disappointment. And my sister, she just keeps talking about how perfect her happy accident of a wedding is going to be. Her happy accident.
Ain't no accident here.
She acts like she's the star of a fairy tale and I'm just in the way. She doesn't seem to care that my family is abandoning me, that my wedding is crumbling. She's enjoying the attention, relishing in the spotlight, and it's driving me insane. And the worst part is people are rallying around her, congratulating her, telling her how wonderful everything is. Meanwhile, my feelings and dreams are dismissed. But John, guess what?
What?
There is yet another update.
I can't handle it.
Me neither. So update number 3. Things have gone from bad to worse.
I was already before when Opie was like, somehow it all got worse. I'm like, Opie, how could it possibly get worse? Now you say it all goes bad to worse. Opie, I don't know what is left that hasn't already gone wrong.
Not only has my family sided with my sister, but now some of my extended family members have started commenting on social media, calling me selfish and dramatic for not letting my sister have the wedding on the same date. I still can't believe this is happening. My special day is being ruined, and now people are turning on me for standing up for what I want. It's infuriating. My partner, my fiance, has been a constant source of frustration throughout this ordeal. Yeah, because he was all like, It's just a day. It's fine.
You marrying me? That's not just a day. That's the best day of your freaking life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. He claims he wants to support me, but every time I express my disappointment or anger, he calls me over dramatic and he tells me to just get over it and move on like I'm just being silly for caring so much.
We have had unreliable narrators before where they spin a whole tale and then someone's like, oh, I'm the sister entering the chat. And actually the sister did this to me, but she just wanted to like be like, see, or whatever. But
I really hope that that's what happens. I really hope there's another update and it's from the sister's perspective, but I don't know. Let's see. He keeps saying that it's not that big of a deal because we have our whole lives together afterward. But it's not just about the date. It's about feeling like an afterthought, like my own sister is stealing my moment. But you know who would never ever steal your moment in the whole wide world is us, John.
Yeah.
Because you know why?
Why?
Because we're live on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok every single weekday. And all you have to do is tap our profile and you can join us. And at 3 p.m. PST, might I add.
Can't forget that.
But yeah, there's a bit more. But what do we think about the husband right now?
Divorce everybody. Divorce the husband. Divorce the family. It's exactly what Opie said. It's like, I feel like an afterthought. And it's like, this is your wedding.
I feel like there's so many situations where you can be overdramatic. And like, you can be like, no, but like, I want this, you know? And like, I want it to be this way. And everyone else is wrong and whatever. This is your wedding, you know? It's like, you deserve to say that you want to be the star of the show.
And like, it's not even like Opie's like, oh, everyone has to, you know, wear a giant marshmallow and we have to like, I don't know, do this like dance that makes us all sweaty. I don't know. Like, Opie's just like, I simply just want to have a celebration that I don't have to split half of the attention, but realistically all with someone else. It is literally the most basic necessities. And these people can't even do that. OP, you need to divorce everyone and run as fast as you can. Run away, girl.
As for my sister's husband-to-be, he seems completely clueless about the drama unfolding around him. He is more focused on his own interests and doesn't seem to see the impact his fiance's actions are having. He is blissfully unaware, going on about his day life, while our family is at each other's throats because of his bride-to-be's decision. It's almost as if he's living in a bubble, ignorant to the storm he has unknowingly contributed to. And that's it!
That was painful.
Move to a new country, change your name, and then you'll fall in love, just like all those like Hallmark movies, you know?
Exactly.
You can write a movie, become an amazing director, and then I'm just seeing this whole life for you.
Go be a movie star.
But that's the end of the story. My siblings ignored me for years, so I want to go no contact with them.
Bye.
Kind of sounds like you already are. I'm wanting to mostly vent as I am a recovering people pleaser. Sorry, this is long. I, 60 female, have an older brother, 72, and a deceased brother who would have been 69. An older sister, 67, and a younger sister, 52. Big family.
All over the age board there.
You would think at our age that we would have been past the pettiness, but no. By the way, this comes from Anon Moose Band Nerd on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. My mother passed 2 years ago and left us with the house we grew up in to be split 5 ways when it sold. My deceased brother's share would be split between his 2 children. My remaining brother is the executor of my mother's estate. For context, my older siblings have always treated my little sister and I like we were idiots or at best small children. My little sister would call me to complain and vent about them, her job, life in general, but she couldn't be bothered to do the same for me.
Yeah, I'll complain to you, but when I need to complain, I ain't got nobody to run to.
If we were on a trip together, she would ditch me for friends or just roll her eyes at any suggestions that I might make. I often was alone, even in a foreign country, and on my own for dinner, excursions, etc. So I was essentially the frequently forgotten, often maligned middle child. When mom passed, it was understood that my little sister, the only one who was single and lived closest to mom, would move into mom's house and stay there for a year, getting the house ready to sell. My little sister had quit her teaching job to be our mother's caregiver the last few years of her life. Wow. When mom went into assisted living, my sister struggled finding a job. Hers and mine is a niche teaching position and took a sizable pay cut to teach at a private school. Since she didn't have to pay rent and have some money left in mom's account, earmarked for upkeep of the house, she could survive for a year. We all agreed on a year. A year passes, and she's still in the house. She says public schools just aren't hiring. I know this isn't true, but she is picky about where she wants to live. I sucked it up and went wherever the jobs were for my career, but that was me being the people pleaser when my parents were both alive. My husband and I, both retired, had made plans to travel based on the intent of my sister moving after the first year and the house selling. When that didn't happen, we canceled our plans to save money. As inflation and the cost of living grew that second year, we had to cut more things out of our lives, including selling a car. Meanwhile, my little sister quit her job after the second year in the house and was living on money that my big sister was giving her. Oh my gosh. When we asked about the sale of the house over 2 years since my mother passed,
Past the due date.
we were met by yelling, condescension, and then silence. My husband, 67, and I reached out to my brother, and he said it was our own fault if we were having money troubles, and again, to not ask him about any personal stuff. That's annoying. That's something I read in like another story earlier, was like, it's actually the same kind of thing happened, where it was like something with the will, and then someone was like given a lot less money in the will, or like left out of it, and then another sibling was like, sorry, you're broke.
Sorry, you're not freaking rich like me.
He said it's our own fault if we have money troubles, and to not ask him about any personal stuff. Again, huh? We had called him about whenever the house was put up for sale. We had some experience with selling and buying from Zillow. A realtor whom we thought was a friend tried to buy our house from under us cheaply and then sell at a profit. Whoa. We went with Zillow instead and made money. My big sister had poo-pooed our ideas and said that she would go through. We knew a realtor too, but that didn't stop the realtor from trying to cheat us. We said that if and when our little sister moved out, we could house her until she found a job, that we lived in a different part of the state and there were jobs in her field all around.
It does sound like a good idea, although slight side note, it does seem like OP has some real estate trauma. Not all realtors are probably going to break your heart like that, but you know, hey, I get it.
Yeah, but that is interesting though too, because I do get it in the way where it's like, well, like if the realtor snubs the sister, it's also snubbing all the other siblings, because they're all
Exactly.
getting money. And that's also a difficult thing. Cause like, yeah, they agreed that she was going to deal with it. But at this point, like if they're all getting equal pay for this, then I feel like it'd be totally reasonable for someone else to just be like, hey, I'm going to take care of this.
I feel like it's more of a semantics or strategy at that point. It's just like, hey, let's just freaking sell the house. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, this is not good.
In response to that, my big sister texted me 5 words. Nope. Not going to happen. That's so like aggressive and vague and like
Not gonna happen.
that's the last communication she's given me. She doesn't answer or return calls or messages. Fast forward to over 2 years since my mother passed. We have canceled 2 vacations, sold a car. Daughter in college has to apply for loans to finish college, while my sister has gone on trips, gone to baseball games and races, all while living by herself with 2 cars, no rent, no job, and my big sister is bankrolling her.
Why?
Why?
Like, also because the big sister, again, like you said, stands to earn, gets 1/5 of the house. Like, not only are you, lighting your money on fire, giving it to her, you're also losing the money from the house.
The house price was at an all-time high back in June. It has dropped 7% in the last 30 days.
Oh no, that's bad. I feel like a lot of places it could be like 2% a year. So that's like years worth of value lost in a month.
Oh my God. I recently found out that my sister had gotten a job, but only through mutual friends posting on Facebook. My little sister has muted me. I found out that the house was for sale only because I have it saved on Zillow. What? I never got to go say goodbye to where I grew up. That's the saddest part.
And you know what the most tragic thing of all is? She ended up doing the thing that OP wanted to do all along, putting it on Zillow.
Yeah, it was that easy. It is listed through my big sister's realtor. Once again, my advice was ignored. I have sold and bought houses both in 7 days' time. That's quick.
Pretty impressive.
Doesn't take 3 years or almost 3 years. I have a feeling my mom's house is going to languish on the market. My brother has come up with a number that he's not going to budge on. I like that. Between the two of them, my older siblings think that they know more than my husband and me. For what it's worth, my husband is an attorney and has bought, sold, and built more houses than my brother and sister put together. You've got experts in the family. Interest in the house has dropped off sharply since the first week. Today, I got one notification on Facebook where my little sister moved and now everything is muted again. My husband is muted too.
Wait, you're telling me she unmuted you just so you'd see, oh, I moved out. I sold and got rid of the house and then remuted you? That is some petty behavior.
Oh
right
my
there.
gosh. If we have to cancel next year's vacation, a cruise, so there are deadlines involved, my husband is going to be so angry. I'm to the point where if my siblings act like I'm a nuisance, then I just won't be there for them to be annoyed by. Every month the house doesn't sell is interest we pay on credit cards that we could have paid off if the house had just sold at a reasonable time. But you know what I think is always a reasonable time?
What?
Is 3 p.m. PST, which is time to join us on live on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok every single weekday. Just have a profile.
Damn it, baby.
But there is more to the story, but I think we need to take a breather. This is just like, do you think going no contact would be the way to go?
So the one big issue is we do have the house, which it does seem like will solve a lot of OP's problems.
Yeah.
They have some finance problems that it seems like 3 years ago, which also like I'm a little bit like, it seemed like 3 years ago, it's like, oh, I'm a lawyer. I sold the house. What's up? Like, oh, I'm a lawyer. I sold the houses. And then I'm like, Loki, where's your money now? But that's okay. I won't judge. We listen. We don't judge. I guess you could argue that like they're such idiots. They're just going to do it on their own time anyways. And it's not worth fighting it.
Honestly, I feel like that might be part of it. Like you might have to just be like, you know what? I've accepted it at this point. Because I also want to know how much they would actually get from the house. Like at a certain point, that money runs out.
And it's a fifth.
Right. And so it's like, it's not an income that they would be getting. They would just get like one dose of money, you know? But if it's a lot, then it would be able to fund, you know, a lot of different things. And I mean, I guess going on vacations isn't the only thing. Like they also have to, you know, put their daughter through college and stuff. But I do just wonder like how fast that would run out with everything that they've been like missing out on.
It sounds like it'll change their life as in like the way they're having to live life right now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Because now they're just like scraping by, it sounds like. I'm beginning to wonder if my little sister is slandering me on Facebook as our mutual friends have become cagey about her whereabouts. Honestly, I don't care anymore. It's too much drama, and I know mom would be upset by the way we're all treating each other. I want my family back because we're all we've got in this generation, but I've had it with this drama. Should I just go no contact? They have my address. They can just mail me the check if the house ever sells.
I am going to say as my final answer to go no contact because I think it sounds like the 5-way split is what's in the will. But there's no time, there's no date, there's no designated person to take care of it. Everything else was after. So it's like, that's why you check out your wills and all your contracts.
But that's the end of that story.
My rude sister-in-law hates my kids. I won't tolerate it. How rude.
How rude. Why you gotta be so rude?
I don't know how to handle this whatsoever. This is my first child so far, born 3 years ago. He was planned, and my husband and I are very happy with him. Obviously, he's a handful, but I think we got lucky because he's calmer than most children in the past 3 years. By the way, this comes from Celisa Baby Hater. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. Sister-in-law married to my husband's brother, and her husband are child-free, which is fine. But I think she has deeper issues, and it's imposing on my family. I'm worried she actually literally hates children. Thinking about it, it's okay, but if she hated children, she needs to help herself if that is the case, as there are many situations where I need to be with my son or that I should not have to find a babysitter. When I first announced the news of my pregnancy, brother-in-law was very happy for us and was happy to have a nephew. He gave a great present for our son too. I didn't think of it too much at the time, but sister-in-law was hardly happy for us. Although she did congratulate us, it was very dry. I'm starting to be convinced that it's not that she doesn't only want no children in her private life, she doesn't want to be around children, period. My husband and brother-in-law are very involved with each other, family business. So we see each other all the time. I'm happy that brother-in-law is happy to see our son, but sister-in-law's attitude has been very off-putting. I do have a full-time job, but for the most part, work stays at work, and my parents are the babysitters. I often visit my husband at work. They own bakeries, coffee shops with our son for a couple hours at a time. Not every day, but often often enough. If I need to leave, I just leave. But I make it a point to drop by when it's not busy. Sister-in-law often helps out work there with the management-related stuff or simple prep stuff. Anything to help out is needed, so I run into her every so often. Every single time I visit my husband, and she happens to be there, she gets in a really sour mood. I visit my husband, and him seeing our son puts him in a good mood, and brother-in-law always seems to be really happy when he's there too. I want to stress that this is a cafe area, and children are here often, and my son is magically not a huge crier. I help with a few things here and there, but I otherwise sit down at one of the tables with my laptop and chill, and talk with my husband or brother-in-law for small talk when they can. The other day, sister-in-law sat down across me and asked, "Does son really have to be here? Isn't that sort of inappropriate?" I asked her to expand, and she told me it's inappropriate to have him distracting husband and brother-in-law from work. But it's completely nonsensical because children are here all the time, and husband and brother-in-law aren't doing desk work. They're dealing with front of house work most of the time. She told me it's best to keep son home with our parent, but I told her the whole point of me coming is to let my husband see our son. He and brother-in-law work 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., so husband misses out on son a lot. I told her that I should be able to visit my husband with my son. The whole conversation was pretty civil, no indicative tone or anything. He was clearly pretty sour though, and it put me off. I talked to brother-in-law about it. I've known him a long time, and he apologized about it, saying she's just not a fan of children. Other things include going to the park with my son. This isn't too often, but every so often when the weather is nice, I take him outside with our dog. Side note, we live in the same neighborhood. We don't run into each other often here, but clearly it happens. She told me I shouldn't have brought my son to the park and let people relax here. What? It's the park.
To the park?
That's like where kids are.
Yeah.
That's like Kids Central. I disagree because it's a park and there are always children here and there. We weren't
Exactly.
at the playground, but there is one nearby. She and her husband were just having a mini picnic when I ran into them and said hi. I wasn't going to join them, but with her sudden attitude, I think she worried I would be. I left after 5 minutes of talking with brother-in-law. He was sour and rude the whole time, telling me I should have left my son with my parents, who lived 20 minutes away from me. I just wanted to walk the dog. I'm pretty sure her husband caught on to her attitude. I don't know what happened after we left. Other issues include family reunions. Of course, I bring my son, and after asking the host of the reunion if that's okay, and it always is. We're older than the other extended family, but they're starting to get married. I'm the only one with a kid. They're all quite receptive of my son, and if he cries, I will always take him away to calm him down, and I just leave him in a room where he's napping. Thankfully, someone is always volunteering to be in the room with him because he's still at the cute stage. But again, this is always an issue with sister-in-law, telling me I should have had a babysitter. The host only said yes because they feel bad. I see the reception everyone has to my son. I can tell he's not a nuisance to everyone's fun, and there's no less booze, and they're still as loud as ever anyways. She tells me he shouldn't be here. It's rude of me to bring him, etc., etc. I ignore her because I very explicitly got permission from the host. Apparently, at this year's reunion, my husband's cousin came up to me and asked what sister-in-law's beef was. Because sister-in-law went up to the cousin, the host, and apparently said things like, "Don't you think me and OP's son are being rude, annoying, shouldn't be here? Why didn't they get a babysitter?" And cousin said it was off-putting. I do have a babysitter aside from my parents for when it matters, and I've used her plenty of times. I will offhandedly mention sister-in-law's passive-aggressive statuses on Facebook about children being in inappropriate places. But I don't go on Facebook often, so I will only catch it every so often. I just don't know how to handle sister-in-law. We are around each other so often, so avoiding her is going to be incredibly difficult. Update! I wasn't expecting to update this soon, but I met up with brother-in-law after I posted the original post, and with everyone giving good advice, I worked myself up to ask him directly myself because I was in the mood. He goes on a run every so often, and I called him asking if we could take a walk, just him and me, and he said it was fine. I told my husband I don't know if he told sister-in-law. I asked him how much my husband told him about the issue between sister-in-law and me and my son. And at first, he said that he brought it up with sister-in-law to lay off with the rude comments. But then he admitted something and hadn't really been telling her. He told me some really huge news, that for a while he's been rethinking about being child-free with her. Some people actually said this in the last post. He said it's been going on for a couple years now after my son was born, and he was surprised at how much he enjoyed seeing him and playing with him. I told him this really surprised me because he had been child-free for so long, but he said it was more sister-in-law that convinced him to be child-free. And brother-in-law never really craved children in the first place. He said ever since he's been playing with my son at every chance he can get because he's not allowed to babysit if sister-in-law is present, he's been rethinking it, and it's been happening since he was only a year old, if barely. This matches up with when sister-in-law has been getting more and more rude to me and my son. But when I asked him why she was so cold when I first announced my pregnancy, he just said she didn't care. He says it's every time he plays with his nephew and rethinks it. He told me some pretty private details between him and sister-in-law, and apparently she got her tubes tied after he admitted to rethinking about being child-free. So he was like, yeah, I don't know if I, I think I may want kids. And she was like, tubes tied.
God, I can't.
Too bad.
How?
And says this was
Crazy.
making sure it wouldn't happen because she refused to have children due to her career. He says he swears she doesn't hate children that much, just
Oh my gosh. He's exposing her.
He says he's been rethinking their relationship because he's been seeing his nephew grow more and is regretting his child-free decision and his marriage because he's stuck as child-free. I mean, yeah, if you want kids, it's not going to work out.
It's a big thing.
We talked a little more about his relationship, but I won't post all the details. But basically, he knows it's either having children with someone else or staying with sister-in-law and never having children. They don't have a dog because she doesn't want one too, and he's worried it'll be too late in life for him to 1, find someone else, and 2, have the child. I'm going to be helping him out with some of his issues, and I won't actively encourage him to divorce sister-in-law, but I definitely won't stop him because I feel that what she's been doing is kind of crappy. Tubes tied to tie him down, way more controlling than I thought. And edit, a huge clarification. It is not what she did that was controlling. It is what she said to him that was controlling. She came home, said she got her tubes tied, and told him that now you can't have kids. Essentially making the decision for him that he won't be changing his mind. Yes, he can always divorce, but it was still kind of crappy. She can do what she wants, but not say something like that to him. And double edit, please stop asking how exactly that's controlling of her. I don't know. I'm just saying what brother-in-law told me she said to him and what pissed him off. I'm just now realizing people are thinking I'm saying getting her tubes tied is what was more controlling than I thought. No, she as a person is more controlling than I thought. So sister-in-law has definitely been taking out aggression on my son, but also understandably telling us off as to save her own marriage, which is way more down the crapter than I should have imagined. By the way, I imagine that you guys can listen to full episodes of stories just like this if you go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search up Storytime.
It's really sad.
I know. I'm like,
I hope he gets
like,
out of
why-
there
why-
and like has a wonderful family.
yeah, it's just like have that conversation. She doesn't have to ever want kids. That's totally her decision.
Yeah.
But if you're in a partnership with someone who says like, you know what, I've been thinking about it and I think I might want kids. Don't be like, don't do that. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to get my tubes tied and not tell you. And then you can't have kids. Like have a conversation. Say,
Yeah.
hey, that's not what I want. Is this something that we're going to regret not having? Like, is
Right.
this something that can we exist in our marriage without them? Or is this
Right.
something that down the line you're going to resent me for?
Right. Because I mean,
Like have an adult conversation.
yeah, I mean, people always have kids like in their like 20s and 30s usually. And so from that point on to when like a lot of people live into like 80s or 90s or something, that's if you want kids, you want to start around that time and then you can't or decided that you like this person isn't letting you have kids, pretty much not with her anyway. That's a long time. That's like half of your life that you could have these kids and see
Yeah.
their lives grow and stuff.
Apparently, the issue sort of started when my son was first born, and he was a pretty typically ugly baby. And at home, sister-in-law was talking about how effing ugly the baby was. Why would anyone ever have something like that? Such a nuisance. And while brother-in-law didn't exactly stop, he said ever since that comment, it was far in the back of his mind. So I have no idea what the F is going to happen now. Edit, the only thing I'll be involving myself in is letting brother-in-law in my life a little more so he can be around his nephew and see if he actually does want his own kid, as opposed to just really liking his nephew. I'm not actually going to be playing marriage counselor. And that is the end of the story.
Wow.
My sister-in-law is destroying our family, and going no contact is not an option.
Are we positive about that? Because it sounds like the alternative is really not good.
This will be a long post as I give you the backstory of why I hate her as much as I do, and why I have no respect for the brother who married her, and why I honestly believe she's going to tear my family apart. By the way, this comes from Happy Cover 3493, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my brother Fred, 35, married his wife Elaine, 35, when they were 20. They were each other's first real relationships and got engaged in 6 months. I was 17 then, going to a Christian summer camp that I had been going to for years. Right before I left, Fred and Elaine sat me down and talked about how as a 17-year-old and going to be a senior in high school, I was going to be tempted to do all kinds of things. They encouraged me to stay chaste and reminded me that purity was my biggest asset and that I needed to wait for the right person like they did and not get up to sneaking out shenanigans. They specifically called themselves my purity role models. So imagine my surprise when I got back at the end of the month and was told that Elaine was pregnant. They went from planning a lovely winter wedding to a shotgun summer one instead, despite feeling very lied to and them never addressing the fact that they had the purity conversation while they were doing it. I was supportive of them and helped with the wedding details and being around. When they married and gave birth, I was an on-call nanny, helping whenever possible. I would go over and spend the night so my brother could work and Elaine could sleep. She was getting her bachelor's degree and working full-time. He was on a third shift. I cleaned, cooked, and cared for my nephew and my other nephew when they got pregnant again 18 months later. I stayed around hometown, working retail and helping them raise their sons until I got a chance to go across the country, working for a mission group specializing in disaster relief. I did admin work, but loved it. At the same time, Elaine and Fred moved 4 states away from my parents for her job, and my little brother Jack went to college. Us all leaving at the same time, and Elaine and Fred having kids 3 and 4 during that time, there gave my parents bad separation anxiety, especially my mom. During the moves, I began to notice a significant shift in Elaine. She didn't want to talk to me anymore and often dismissed me when I called. When I did FaceTime or visit, I noticed she would bully Fred, scoff when he did things for her, demand he cater to her the moment she got home, and constantly talk down to him. I tried to redirect her nicely, and she got mad at me, which made Fred get mad at me. I also noticed Elaine had a bad habit of favoring her youngest child. It hadn't been noticeable with kid 1 or 2, but when her third came along, she doted on him and ignored the other 2. Then, when the 4th was born, she stopped attending 3 and put all her energy into 4.
She's like, the new update just
She's
released.
like, ooh, new and improved. Fred noticed this a bit and tried to make up for it, as did my mom, dad, Jack, and I. We all moved back to our state within a few years, though we were a little scattered about. Fred and Elaine were 3 hours from my parents, Jack was an hour away in the opposite direction, and I was in a town close to my parents. My parents were thrilled about us being back and tried to see all of us as much as they could. Fred and Elaine got very entitled when they moved back, knowing they had the only grandkids for my parents and held it over my parents' heads. My grandparents were not nice people, and my parents, who both broke cycles of abuse and neglect, were scared to be seen as monsters-in-law, like their parents were. Elaine began to play on the fear and even said my mom was a narcissist and that if she didn't try and do what Elaine said, she would cut off contact. My mom is the nicest person you will ever meet, and she constantly drops everything to help Elaine, despite being diagnosed with POTS and having chronically low energy. Elaine's brother had to make her stop, saying he would cut Elaine off if she ever disrespected my mom like that again. Fred did not stand up for our mom at all. I found out about this a couple of years after the fact from Elaine's brother, as my parents hid Elaine's bullying from Jack and me so as not to cause drama.
That's wild.
They're being blackmailed by Elaine. When Elaine and Fred moved back, they also expected me to resume nanny duties, all of which had been unpaid, by the way, and put my job and college on hold to be there for them, despite me living 2.5 hours away from them. Oh my God.
Elaine is a nightmare conjured from the pits of Tartarus. What are we doing?
Yeah, I think we can cut her off. Fred and Elaine nearly disowned me when I refused to call in sick so I could babysit for them at the last minute when my mom got sick and couldn't watch their kids.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You can disown siblings? I thought
I guess if
disowning...
nobody's living with them.
I thought disowning came from down, like the parents down.
Yes, technically, but I think in a lot of Reddit stories they use it like
just more like I will have
liberally.
nothing to do with it.
Yeah, if it's like a family. I thought it made more sense for Fred or Elaine to call in sick and watch their kids or call their church's emergency sitter service. They told my parents that I screamed at them. I did not. And that I called my nephew's burdens. Hell to the no. The only reason there was a calm outcome was that my cousin had been staying at my apartment while he was at the college for a campus tour and had been there and had overheard the phone call. Thank goodness. You have a witness.
You have a witness.
That's what you need. Record all of your phone conversations now.
Honestly, if they are going to be like this, yeah.
He set the record straight. My parents apologized, but Fred and Elaine never apologized to me. Everyone now acts like this never happened, but I'm still upset by the situation. I can't bring it up or demand an apology without causing a gigantic scene. Not long after that, Elaine got pregnant for the 5th time with their daughter. And I'm assuming that now this is her favorite child. The 4 boys may as well have ceased to exist to Elaine, and she put their girl at the forefront of everything. Fred also began favoring her. He still gave the boys attention and did things with them, but as niece grew older, he would not enforce boundaries with her, would not make her do chores, and often let her do and say whatever she wanted. She's like treating her kids like toys, and then she gets bored with them. The boys were and are expected to cater to their sister. Their feelings towards their daughter versus their boys came to a head when Fred and Elaine told me and my dad to our faces that their daughter was the most important thing in their lives, more so than anything. When I mentioned that their sons should be held in the same regard, both said they loved their sons, but their daughter just loved them more fully. And that surely Dad understood that you loved a daughter more. Well, Dad lost his mind at the both of them. He and Mom never favored me over my brothers growing up. He was outraged that my brother could so blatantly disregard his children. My dad was neglected because he was the youngest, and his parents did give him the oldest matters most BS to him. So my brother's attitude in favoring a child was particularly triggering to him. Dad called them out, but nothing came of it. Elaine and Fred kept on keeping on, and their sons were treated as loved, but not as precious as their sister.
That's so sad.
Very sad.
Like, what?
Like, how could you do that to one of your children? My family and I tried to help support the boys and be pillars of love when their parents were dismissive. They still showed up to sporting events and still fed and clothed them, but they never had the same level of attention or fawning as their sister. And if there was a choice about sister's dance class or the boys' soccer game, their parents always went with what sister had going, leaving me and my family to fill in for the boys. Due to our efforts to let the boys know they're loved and our hard work to support them, but also not neglect our niece and actually enforce boundaries with her, my family became the favorite of the kids. Jack and I were labeled as the best aunt and uncle, and the boys got really protective of us and who we dated, saying that they had to be as awesome as we were or they'd scare them off. Thankfully, they love Casey, my brother's long-term girlfriend. Even my niece told me she likes me best since I'm the strict fun aunt. That's how you do it. And my youngest nephew feels safe with me because he was diagnosed with POTS like his grandma and has to have a special diet because of it. I take the diet more seriously than his parents do and work hard to make sure he has goodies at holidays and such. Elaine was laid off at the start of the pandemic, and Fred broke his arm and had a bad vid infection during the lockdown. He could not work for a while and began to rely on my parents to help make ends meet. After the fact, we found out that Fred and Elaine had a settlement from the layoff and the injury and didn't need the money and kept taking their kids on expensive outings, amusement parks, out-of-state museums, and large camping trips.
So not only is she a bad mom, she's a scam artist.
She's lying. She's stealing money from everyone. Even after this came out, they still took money from my parents, who again were afraid of being neglectful monsters-in-laws. These parents need to go to therapy.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah, to set those boundaries. Elaine said she couldn't work because Fred wasn't working. And then both bragged about how well their respective career prospects would be if they were looking for work. Finally, Jack and our aunt, Mom's side, shamed them both into not using our parents for money and got Fred and Elaine back in the workforce. However, they still rely heavily on my parents to buy stuff for their kids and for them to cover dining, trips, and snacks. They also keep expecting my parents to drop everything and drive the 3 hours to their place whenever at Fred and Elaine's whims because they have grandkids. If Jack and I put up boundaries saying we can't get off work or that we're unable to attend, we're shamed by Elaine saying that we don't care about our nephews and niece. Fred has also insinuated that since we aren't married, their family should be the center of all my and Jack's commitments, even over Jack's current girlfriend and my former boyfriend. What?
John, we're going to get back to the story,
Yeah.
but your old.
You're as old as me now, pal.
I might be as old as you, but I feel like you have oodles more wisdom.
I've got some wisdom in this old noggin.
You got
baby.
a piece of wisdom for me right now?
Always respect your elders.
And I think the other piece of wisdom that I've learned from John is join OK Storytime memberships.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Get it now while I'm still alive.
And now back to the story.
The entitlement out of, I was
Crazy.
I was like, maybe you can get to Fred to get to Elaine. Be like,
Yeah.
Fred, do you notice that but Fred is just as bad.
Fred is just as whack. Elaine has also insinuated that since I am now 32, I am too old to have kids and that I'm a spinster. Girl, just because you had all of your kids like back to back when you were 20 doesn't mean that everyone else has to do that.
Yeah. Hi, my mom had me when she was 33 and now we have beef. So Elaine, pull up. I say that to my face.
Everyone goes at their own pace in life. Just because you had a different setup doesn't mean that everyone has to have your setup. As wonderful as they are, my parents have fallen entirely for the manipulation to the point that Fred and Elaine are put first above me and Jack. If Jack and I have a special event that happens to fall during a kid's sport event or school concert, we know our parents will not show up. Jack also has the unfortunate luck that niece's birthday is the day after his. If we try to meet for dinner, have a party, or even a text conversation about his birthday, Elaine and Fred usurp it and make it about their precious daughter. It's to the point that I plan a special dinner with Jack and our parents that Fred and Elaine are not invited to. Good. Don't invite them.
Exclude them.
And my parents are forbidden from letting them know it exists. My parents agree to it because they know it will be a problem if they come. If we try to talk to our parents about stuff Elaine and Fred have done, my parents shut the conversation down, saying we need to get along. Toxic situations fracture their families, and they don't want their kids to hate each other. They also won't listen to our concerns about them being taken advantage of, saying they're happy to do it. Because they can, and they know how precious it is to have parents who care and want to help. However, it has cost my mom her health and my dad his sanity. He is stressed about his mom. To his credit, my dad is getting really fed up with Fred and Elaine, but he's afraid the boys won't have a support structure if they take a step back, or that my mom will resent him for a strained relationship with her son and grandkids.
That is so hard because if you do, now I'm starting to see why you can't cut them off.
Yeah, because you got to be there for the kids.
I mean,
no one else is going to be there for the boys.
Yeah,
so.
if they pull back, all they have is the parents that only love one of them at a time, it seems like.
My mom is terrified that Elaine will label her a monster-in-law and make good on her threat from 8 years ago to cut contact. Due to this fear, neither can be reasoned with. It's not even that my mom favors Fred as her eldest. She favors Elaine as daughter-in-law because my dad's parents were so awful and she couldn't stomach being perceived that way by someone.
So that's like, you need to either really reinforce with her that that's not the case, or she needs to go to therapy to like undo the trauma that is causing that thought.
Exactly. Other minor offenses include Elaine pressuring me as a 22-year-old to have kids, since she already had 2 by that point, and I was falling behind. Her bullying Jack for simply being a boy, because she doesn't like her own brother, and female favoritism is the tradition in her family. Elaine's bullying makes Fred a bitter Jack-A, and he now has an inferiority complex and tries to one-up everyone to prove he isn't a loser. I really despise her for this and him for doing it. Cut off Fred from all his friends and only allow him to be friends with her friends' husbands. Telling Jack that he lacks as a man since he isn't married. Telling me I am inferior for being an unmarried woman. Butting into Jack's relationship, which he started at 24, and trying to cause drama with our parents about it, dumping all 5 kids on me at every family event and running off to take a nap, and not coming except for food or leaving. Fred ignoring everyone at family events to be on his phone the whole time, getting mad at me for having a sibling chat with my brothers that she wasn't a part of, and bullied her way into, saying she's my sibling too and needed to be in the chat, screaming at her kids when they don't do things her way or make minor mistakes. However, the straw that broke the camel's back happened recently. Niece was having a tantrum, the type that starts small, then grows, and then you can't stop crying even when you want to. Her parents were both on their phones and not paying attention to their kids, so in normal fashion, I went to calm Niece down. I took her into another room so she could calm down, away from prying eyes, and get herself together, standard stuff, taking away the audience and giving them a space to chill. When Elaine realized Niece and I left the room, she berated Fred for allowing me to handle the tantrum instead of him, that I was not suitable to handle the situation as I was an unstable depressive who took meds. She then said I could not be trusted with her daughter, and did he realize he was a bad parent leaving her with me? Neither of them realized that both Jack and I had overheard them, as did their kids. I don't think they cared. I have an anxiety disorder due to hormone stuff. It's honestly super mild and easily handled. When I have a problem, it presents very mildly as me getting fatigued, quiet, a bit cynical, and withdrawn. I do not get violent, do not get a temper, and I have never been a danger to anyone or myself. The meds I take help me produce more serotonin, and it completely takes care of it. It is very manageable and honestly such a non-issue that I am still shocked she ever said anything like this. This incident made me realize, though, that I have been fooling myself for years. I don't just dislike my sister-in-law, I hate her guts. I'm shocked that it took you this many years.
Yeah. Hey, isn't it nice to wake up to reality?
Yeah. I don't want to be in the same room as her, and honestly, I have been skipping events I know she and Fred will be at if I know Jack isn't there, as I can't handle her anymore. I am also mad at Fred. I know he's been a victim of Elaine's bullying too, but he hasn't once stood up for his sons or his family. He also takes advantage of my parents and has allowed this nonsense to go on as it suits his needs. I want to cut contact with them both, go scorched earth, and be done. However, if I do that, I will very effectively alienate myself from my parents and lose contact with my nephews and niece. Also, if I go scorched earth, I know Jack and our cousins will follow suit. Our cousins only put up with Elaine out of respect for my parents, Jack and myself, and are very vocal about how much they dislike Elaine. Jack's only reason for not putting Fred's head on a spike for his behavior toward our family has been me holding him back. If we all go no contact, our nephews in particular will be left out to dry, and our parents will be forced to choose a side. If they pick Elaine and Fred's side, which they will for the kids' sake, Jack will never forgive them. He is already super close to cutting them out for bending over backward for Elaine and Fred, and a big fight would push him over the edge. I want to force a conversation with my parents about how toxic Fred and Elaine have become and how they have strained every familial tie and have caused them, Jack, and myself, trauma. I fear that no good will come of it though, and I'll only hurt my relationship with them. I worry my parents can't or won't see that they're defending Fred and Elaine, and letting them run over everyone has strained their relationship with me, with Jack, with my aunt, who hates watching her older sister getting taken advantage of, and even with each other. I don't want to lose my parents, and I don't want my family broken beyond repair, but I can't stand those two anymore either. I just don't know what to do anymore. And there is an update, but do you have any thoughts or advice?
I think my perspective is that you probably want to have that one-on-one conversation with your parents, right? Try to have them see the light in some way. But then I think if you want real tangible, like an impact to come of this, you're going to almost have to do like an intervention style sit down where all of the affected family, your parents, your cousins, you, Jack, you all sit down with Fred and Elaine and you go, your behavior is doing X, Y, Z to us. And we are worried about not only our own lives, but the lives of the children and their dynamic in the family. If you choose to deprive them of that on some pettiness, it's unacceptable. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know if it would work on Fred and Elaine, but maybe you could take that approach with like the parents. Like, be like, hey, you guys are getting taken. Like, get everyone in. Oh yeah, maybe like just to open their eyes. Yeah. Update. Thank you all for reminding me that talking is still my best bet and that I need to bite the bullet and do it. No thank you to everyone who just said, just go no contact. I've never done it, but how hard can that be? A lot of you read these stories but have not lived them, and it shows. It's easy to say no contact, but harder to do.
I already have gone no contact with my grandparents, and I was the one who convinced my family to cut off contact as well. It's a really heavy burden, even if I stand by the no contact decision and would do it again. And while my brother has turned into a weasel, he was a loving brother while we grew up, and I'll admit I'm holding on to the dimmest hope that one of these days he wakes up and tells Elaine to F off. I know I need to talk to my parents. I also know we need a united front intervention. I've tried that before, but my cousins, aunt, and brother are unwilling to step in and talk with me. So if I do the intervention, I will be doing it alone. I'm going to try and convince Jack to talk with me, though, and see how it goes. By the way, I want to convince you guys to listen to more full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. And there is a little bit left, so let's just jump right into it. On that note, I have been made to realize I can't baby my parents either. And that while it will be harder, there might be a way to cut my sister-in-law and sadly my brother out without losing them. It's going to involve separate holidays, separate vacations, and sadly, a lot of trauma for my parents and their childhood, but it needs to be done, I think. And while Jack and I have lowered our contact, we probably need to go lower. I need to find the balance to get Elaine out of my life and still show up for the kids because I love them and don't want them out of my life. Those kids love me so much, and sometimes watching them, they remind me of who Fred used to be. That's so sad. I'll let you know how the talk goes when it happens. And that is the end of that story. I really hope that OP works it out. Do you have any final thoughts to close this out?
I think that overall, the solution of having the separate holidays, it's going to be more effort, but like, dude, like, don't let the two bad apples spoil the bunch. Like, and maybe if they start seeing like, oh, we're on the outside looking in now, maybe that will make them selfishly change their ways.
Hopefully, we can only hope. But good luck to you, OP.
Yes.
And that is the end of that story. So we're going to jump into the next one.
My mother gave away my room without my permission, so I stopped going home.
Well, there you have it.
I am 20 female, and I'm currently pursuing a degree in industrial psychology. I'll begin by first informing everyone I come from a country outside of America, and to us, it's very normal to stay with parents, and we are never chased out at 18, but rather go willingly when we want, which, yes, is a fun fact. That is really an American Western culture idea.
No, because Australia, it's also pretty common to stay with your parents.
It's pretty much everywhere on Earth. It's very normal to stay close to your family, except we just got too much hustle and grind to do out here in the States, dude. We're grinding. By the way, this comes from user Acrobatic Kiwi 3080. And if you want to submit your own stories, you can do it at the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I stay in a hostel in your school for most of my semesters, but come home for holidays when we are off semester. And our longest holiday is 4 months. So now here's the issue. We stay with my grandma, who's old and blind, my mother, and my 3 siblings. Me and my father decorated my room to fit my aesthetic before he passed away, so I adore it dearly. My mom and I aren't close, but we talk like normal people. She's way closer to my 10-year-old sister, Kathy, as she's the last born and didn't get time with my dad before he passed. All of us siblings have our own bedrooms, including Kathy, but she's usually in my mom's room, as they usually share the bed and do all those things together. So our hostel rooms allow some students, usually international students, to stay behind because of the distance back home. I've been staying at the hostel under the pretext of being international. My dad married my mom, who's a citizen, but wasn't from my country, so my name doesn't sound national, and thus a perfect cover.
So you're lying.
OP is moving and deceptive.
Yeah.
The OP's weaving a little web of deception here. This is because when we broke off for the holidays, I went home and discovered my things had been clamped into Kathy's room as she had been given my room. I was mad, not at Kathy, but rather at my mom because she didn't consult me and said that I was never around. Keep in mind, my brother moved out 2 years back, but his things have never been moved, and my elder sister occasionally comes by, but she has her own apartment. All of us girls were made to stay on the top floor, so there are 4 bedrooms on that floor for all of us, including our mom's room and Kathy's room. I feel like, irrational to think that your room will never change. However,
Yeah.
it is really not cool that your mom did it without asking you. My room is adjacent to my mom's room. It's a big room, has a balcony, and has a small library where Papa had put all our books. I came home and found the library in Kathy's former room, books scattered and all my things all over the place as they couldn't fit in the room, and my mom was still insisting I stay there because Kathy had grown out of her room, so she needed more space. Like I'm not 10 years older than her, and as if I too don't need the space. We had an argument after argument, as I later learned that they had further even repainted parts of the room. Later, my mom kept asking why I was acting up, as it wasn't a big deal, telling me I'm acting like a child as if I had not been placed in a child's room and feeling suffocated at every turn. But pause, because that's temporary. I would be more focused on the changing your room that you had sentimental feelings for
Sure.
without consulting you.
Yeah, I agree.
Or without even, I feel like,
It seems like possibly your mom wants you to move out a little bit. I don't know.
yeah, it does.
That's kind of what it
kinda,
feels like. But
yeah.
also I'm approaching this with kind of a Western, or a American viewpoint.
Do you think maybe is it like a little sibling jealousy, a little sibling rivalry here?
Maybe. I mean, it seems like Opie's not mad at her sister at all.
Let's dig a little deeper here. It came to a halt, or maybe a head, one Saturday in late October when I overheard our mom telling Kathy how the only reason I don't want to move was because I can't stand being away from her, and that I still thought I was the child of the house. Feeling tired of this atmosphere, I went back to the hostel where I have been staying since. I mean, low
Yeah,
key.
so it does seem like she wanted you to move out.
So this was all back in October. Around late November, as the festivities were beginning, I received a call from my mom asking me why I won't go back home, as I'm always the one hanging the Christmas decorations. I told her that I already have mine set up and hung up. My siblings called and tried to reason, but I didn't budge. Kathy tried telling me she could move out, but I was fed up, so I spent the entire holiday at my hostel. My mom was born on Christmas, so she tried to use this to gaslight me into going back, but I didn't care and went to a friend's home where I celebrated Christmas and posted the photos of Christmas on my WhatsApp status, which my mom viewed and told me I had gone overboard with my antics. I can understand being bitter. Was there no conversation? There was no confrontation? There was no...
Well, it seems like OP brought up, hey, why did you change my room? And it was just kind of like, oh, you don't need it.
Go. I think it was.
But-
I think the last straw was OP overheard.
Yes.
This.
Yeah. Did you have a conversation after
Did
that?
you talk about that after? Because if you didn't, it would make a lot of sense why right now your family and your mom are like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
why aren't you coming back?
I just remembered a very sad, tragic tale.
Oh, what is it?
I remember when a young Samuel Donner, he wanted to join the cool kids, but instead of labeling you as one of the cool kids,
They called me Salad Boy because I ate nothing but salads. Could not trade my lunch for a lunch bowl or really anything.
You know what community will always welcome you with open arms, Sam?
And make you feel like a cool kid?
The great people who have OK Storytime memberships.
Oh, I heard that 60 plus hours of members only content Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
You heard right, Sam, and it's only $5 a month.
So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join. Now back to the story.
Chomp, chomp.
Kathy has been telling me that ever since I left home, Mom's temper has been so bad that she's been picking on her for no reason. And I feel bad for her, and I know what it feels like to be at the receiving end of Mom's wrath. But I still don't want to go back home because I'm enjoying my time away.
Yeah. I mean, don't go back home.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Or maybe I don't think that you have to live at home, but maybe there is a thing where you could work out just visiting,
plus, my next semester is starting in February anyway. So, am I wrong for not going home because of a room? Edit, I was working on my dissertation and hadn't noticed the notifications. I'm grateful that the people are siding with me on the matter at hand. Thank you, and I have read some comments. First off, I want to apologize for not understanding American culture, but rather only from posts of people about them getting evicted at 18. My mom didn't have a favorite, or I never noticed she had a favorite because me and my father had always been closer. However, she always makes comments about all of us around the other. One time she told me my elder sister was very selfish, greedy, and might sell the house. We simply never mind her. What people don't understand is that there were so many memories in that room, and I can't mention them because there's just so many memories that they can't be shortlisted. They're very personal to me. The whole house was mainly designed by my mom, apart from my bedroom and Kathy's, which was a nursery that Mom and Papa did together. And my room, which I painted with him, placed plastic oysters and shimmers. It was our magical land. And she knew that. It does sound like your mom is a very petty individual
Yeah.
who's trying to pit the siblings against one another,
It seems like it.
which is cringe. And I would bet you that she also has felt some type of way about you being close to your dad and have the room being the special room this whole time. There are people saying the house is not mine, so I should move out. In my country, there's a law which entitles women to matrimonial property, and this house is not the matrimonial house, but rather our first house. So this house belongs to us children equally and was left to us in Papa's will, but my mom and grandma stay here because it's bigger. My relationship with my mom back then was brief, if I may best describe it. For instance, I tell her what I need for school, and that's that. There was never any anger. My brother has called this behavior menopause, which I doubt.
Probably just her period or something.
Yeah, it's probably like women.
Yeah, women stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, you might not know, but I do know.
Yeah, as a
that
man, you know.
can listen
Oh.
to full episodes with stories like this. Perfect segue.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and search OK Storytime. And then you can just drown in an endless ocean of
Content.
stories spoken by us.
You're welcome.
There is a little bit of story left. Honestly,
Let's run it.
I think we just run it.
Yeah, I think we've covered.
It sounds like your mom's toxic, and it
Yeah.
sounds like you are already aware that maybe you don't want to live there. About picking out sentimental items, yes, when I left, I packed the books and the camera with all the pictures of my dad. The oysters were gone, so the clothes can be rebought. Also, about the jobs in my country, it's hard to get employment, but I have money I can access anytime I want. That's how I have sustained myself at the hostel, but I work for 2 NGOs as a volunteer. This is my last year of university, and my plan going forward is going no contact completely.
Whoa.
Making sure she sees everything I do. I mean, honestly, the way that she's kind of trying to pit the siblings against each other,
Yeah.
the way she's making offhand remarks, I can kind of see it.
I mean, you know best what the situation is, and if you feel like that is what needs to be done, then that's what needs to be done.
However, I think you're going to be wasting a lot of your energy by doing the making sure she sees everything I do.
Yeah.
Just go out there and live your life.
Yeah.
Her seeing everything I do is my only satisfaction. And once I graduate, I'm looking to pursue my master's in a foreign country. And for people saying I should let Kathy suffer, she's a child.
Yeah.
Let's be respectful. And I love her. We may not be close in age, but she's a sweet child who respects and adores me as much as I do her. That's all for now. I don't think I'll update unless something interesting comes up. And we do have some comments.
Woo.
Number 1, why aren't you close to your mom? As by her anger towards your sister, it seems like she does care about you. What? So I'm just curious as to why you think you aren't close. OP says, we never had similar interests. I'm tall and not shaped like my other sisters. She always calls me too small and always calls me man of the house after my brother left. That's why I'm in charge of hanging things up in the ceiling or fixing things because I'm too mannish in her view. And other than that, we just never talk. Not the a-hole. Your mother has issues and needs the old punching bag. It was you, and now that you won't go home, it's Kathy. I would stay away and not plan on staying there again and keep in touch with your sister because she will need help when she gets older. The reply to this, abusive parents usually find a new target once the old target is gone. That's why social services started taking all children in a family when only one was being abused. They found that another child would be picked as the abuse victim. Comment 3, not the a-hole. When your mother redecorated your room and moved your sister into it, she basically told you that you don't have a place there anymore. You're just a storage space to her now, and she wants you there so you can hang the decorations, and so she doesn't look like a bad parent to relatives who stop by for the holidays. Time to consider what to do after school and plan on getting a job and a space of your own. You will be happier than moving back into a place that's not really yours anymore. OP says, the house belongs to us, but we just let our mom take charge. Most of my relatives stay far and we are not close. Plus, my mother never allows us to visit relatives on my father's side. Maybe her relatives who come once in a while, but we are not close. And that is the end of that story. And it really does sound like your mom has like a weird, like, fixation on your dad's influence in the family and like the emotional connection there. Excluding you from his side of the family seems weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. She just seems very controlling. And she's pushing away everyone.
Yeah. So honestly, I don't know what the legal process would be like, but if you really are saying that that's not her house and it's yours, maybe do the legal fight if you can afford it. If you think it's like a slam dunk, open and shut, clearly on paper, the rights to the house belong to us, the children. I would do it.
I do think though OP wouldn't want to do that because of Kathy.
Why?
Well, because she would want, like, Kathy's still under,
Kathy
you
would,
know,
yes,
still
right,
under
that's right.
her
Kathy's
mom's
10.
care. Yeah. Kathy
So
is 10.
probably.
I was like, well,
Okay.
Yeah.
Good point.
Might be a little tricky.
Good catch, Sophia.
But once Kathy's 18, take that house.
Yeah. And
Okay.
definitely still keep in contact with her and like your siblings. Like create bonds there that are
Don't let
strong.
your mother tear you apart.
I refuse to split my mother's inheritance with my siblings because they have their own.
Yeah, it looks like you already have all of the money and property.
I, 28 female, have 6 siblings. Our mom recently passed in November from stage 4 cancer. Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, super, super sad.
I had a really great relationship with my mom. We would spend time together, and my 4 children, 5-year-old twins, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, all loved her. I am the youngest of all my siblings. My older siblings didn't prioritize much time with my mom until the last few months when she couldn't do much for herself anymore. By the way, this comes from Top Protection 6367, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit.
You heard her, folks.
So, I currently live with my boyfriend, 38 male, and our 4 children in a 3-bedroom apartment. It's a nice apartment, but of course, it's not ideal for our large family. Over the summer, while my mom was still very coherent, she signed a transfer on death of her house, 5-bedroom, 3-bath to me for myself, my boyfriend, and our children to move into. She did the transfer so I wouldn't have to buy the house as we would not be able to afford a loan for her house. And her house only had less than a year left until it was completely paid off so we would be able to afford her payments that way. All of my other siblings own their own homes and have plenty of room in their homes for their individual families. I didn't ask my other siblings if they were okay with this, but I didn't see it as their decision or whether they had a say considering it's our mom's house and she had a final say anyway.
Exactly.
That's
like,
right.
Straight up. Exactly that.
Yeah, like when she was literally alive and coherent, like
She made her decision, dude.
yeah, hate to break it to you guys. And like I said, all of my siblings own their own homes anyway. Once my mom passed, she had some medical bills that needed taken care of, so it seemed as though we would need to sell the house to take care of them. After looking into it more, my boyfriend said that he would buy the house at just enough to cover the medical bills rather than what it's worth, considering we cannot afford what's worth. Plus, my mom had planned on us just moving in and not doing any sort of loan anyway. She had a cash inheritance, which she left my oldest sister, Melanie, 43 female, to split equally among all of my siblings. Since my mom had passed, we have asked Melanie how much is left in the inheritance, as it would be split 7 ways, and she would always kind of dodge the question.
I see you.
Sneaky.
I see
Mm.
Give Andrew one. Give Andrew one.
Yeah, I just realized why these are here now. That makes so much more sense.
Yes. Melanie gonna take that money.
She would say she hasn't counted it yet, or she's unsure. I smell lies.
I mean, I haven't counted the number that I'm gonna tell you is the real number, but I haven't come up with my fake number yet. I gotta
Right.
do some more math.
My mom also had some coins that were worth some money. She had 4 coins worth about $3,200 and a 5th coin worth about $1,200. I only found out about these coins from my other sister, Rochelle, 35 female, because she told me Melanie thought about giving the A coin worth $3,200 to herself, Rochelle, my brother, Nick, 37 male, and myself. The coin worth less to another hand-picked sibling.
Well, real quick, you can't give one coin to 3 people.
Well, yeah,
Like, what are we doing?
I'm assuming she would pay for it or like get the money for it and then split that up.
I don't know.
That's a way to look at it too.
Maybe just give each person a coin or something.
Yeah, I would totally get so much value that way.
You should have
So
each
much
of them
more value.
flip the coin to determine which of them gets to
Ooh,
keep it.
There you go. There you go. And then just never telling the last 2 siblings about the coins at all. What? That's so sneaky.
Yeah, that's too
Why?
sneaky.
That really upset me. Makes sense. I understand the coins gain value over time, and that's why they didn't want to pawn them for cash to split equally, but that is really unfair, and considering that there are not 7 coins, I believe the fair situation would be to pawn them for cash so everyone could be involved. I suggested that, and then never heard anything else about the coins.
I wonder where they could be going.
Uh.
Maybe into someone's pocket.
Oh boy. And then one day last week when I had Rochelle and my niece over for dinner, she dropped a gold coin out of her purse and quickly put it back. Oh no, she's ratting herself out. What an amateur thief. Oh my goodness. I never said anything, but I couldn't believe that they decided to kick me out of that inheritance because I stuck up for the 3 siblings that were going to be slighted. Well, flash to a couple days ago, my boyfriend got approved for the loan. I told Melanie about this to keep her in the loop, and her response shocked me. She told me that she did not feel comfortable selling the house to my boyfriend. I didn't understand because selling the house to my boyfriend was just a way for us to keep the house so that my mom's medical bills would be paid. And my mom's wishes were for my family to move into the house. After I got off the phone with Melanie, I called Rochelle to see how she felt, but she couldn't talk right away.
Oh, yeah, probably because she was still
Already on the phone with the other one.
colluding with the
Yeah.
other stinkers.
Yeah. Once I was able to talk to Rochelle, it was very clear that Melanie had gotten to her first and manipulated the situation. So I texted the group chat with my siblings. Essentially, they all want to sell the house at full value to a stranger so they can receive an inheritance of cash from the house selling. Melanie had very obviously made them believe that my mom only transferred the house into my name so I could take care of selling it and splitting the money with all of my siblings. That wasn't the truth, and I tried telling them that our mom did not do that, but Melanie had manipulated the situation.
That's crazy, dude.
Ugh.
To manipulate that while your mom is like actively has medical debt that she needs to pay off. And it's
Yes.
like, that's like, you're just the s***est.
Absolutely.
Scumbag.
Selfish. For context, Melanie is the oldest, and all of our siblings can be pretty easily manipulated in a situation when it comes to Melanie. It sounds terrible, but it's true. I can see right through it and tried to say my side, but they are all on Melanie's side. They all want cash from the house, but I want to live in it like my mom intended. Yeah, it's what she wanted. Okay?
Yeah.
It's what the mom wanted.
Respect her wishes.
Yeah, come on now. Like I said, my mom transferred the house into my name. So I'm going through with selling the house to my boyfriend to pay my mom's medical bills, and so us and our 4 children can live there. My siblings feel like I have scammed them out of an inheritance, but I feel like I found a way to get the medical bills paid so that my family can live there, which is what my mom intended when she was here.
Yeah, it's like-
Absolutely.
Hello, there's a house.
Hello.
You got a house.
Yeah. So, am I the a-hole? What would you say, Dakota?
Well, if I was one of your siblings, I'd be like, yeah, but
Right.
I'm not. So no.
Because they're stupid.
All they want is the money.
Yeah.
They just want the money.
But then
Money.
Like,
money.
I wonder how much they would even get the house for and how much the medical bills are, because it's like you're still gonna have to pay for those, you know? And like the boyfriend is basically like offering to pay for all the medical bills with
Yeah.
this whole house situation.
Like, I will buy the house for the cost of the medical bills.
Right. And so it's like,
and then the house stays in the family.
yeah, and it's like totally not his responsibility to do that. I would think it would be split amongst the siblings if they were to take care of all that. So it's like, how much money would you even be getting from the like house payment if you have to pay for
Yeah,
the medical
true.
bills?
It's
You know
like-
what I mean? There are some relevant comments. Comment number 1 says, why are you selling the house to your boyfriend? If you want to be able to keep the house, he could just pay your mother's bills and debts instead of buying the house. Then the house would stay in your name. ETA, not the a-hole. Your siblings got their inheritance. Don't split anything with them. Someone else replies, this is also what I don't understand. Her mom made sure that she has a home. Now she's selling it for less than it's worth to her boyfriend. If the relationship ends, she has nothing. Comment number 2. I mean, those are actually good points.
That actually is a good point. I didn't
Because
even
I
think
did
about
wonder,
that.
like, what? I mean, maybe it's some sort of complicated tax government thing where it's like it would.
Perhaps. Maybe if it goes outside of the family, that you don't have to pay estate taxes on it or inheritance
Maybe.
taxes, or who knows.
I have
Who
no
knows?
idea. I don't know.
But
how any of
I'm
that
sure
works.
that they wouldn't do that if it wasn't like a serious, really, who knows how long they've been dating.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna trust that they're just like making the right decision. I mean, they're married and they have kids, So
Yeah,
like,
they-
I'm gonna assume that they know what's going on there.
Yeah.
Because I sure don't. So comment number 2 says, you don't have to pay your mom's medical bills. The house was passed down to you. There's no obligation because she did not pass away intestate without a will regarding the home. You don't need a loan. You are essentially giving your inheritance to a boyfriend. Don't. Oh, I guess they're not. They've been using boyfriend. They're definitely not married. My bad. Get the home put in your name only, even if it has to go through probate as a formality. It is still your home only. Your mom did not intend for you to pay her medical bills. She knew you did not have to. Don't let your.
Wait, don't you have to do that?
I don't know.
Don't medical bills? I'm pretty sure medical bills can be passed down the line.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, hey, these are your mom's bills.
Get inherited.
They're like the freaking mafia, dude.
Well, I wonder if does anything in the will pay for it, or do you have to specify that?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Someone's
We're
gotta
operating
pay, I
in the
guess.
dark a lot here in terms of
Yeah.
how much we know about selling a house and what the
It's just
legal implications
medical
of it
bills
are.
in general,
But
I have no idea.
I think they do they not have kids together? I think.
Yeah, they do have kids together.
Yeah.
I
I think that's
just
okay.
like,
And I think maybe if you're worried, it is true. If you're worried about the boyfriend taking everything, though, just have the boyfriend buy it and then put the house in your name.
yeah.
Have the deed transferred to you if it's
You
really
know,
that big of a deal.
Maybe that's the thing. If the medical bills do get passed on to the siblings, maybe they have to pay for it rather than the boyfriend. But I don't know. The comment continues. Your mom did not intend for you to pay her medical bills. She knew you did not have to. Oh yeah. Don't let your other siblings rob you of your inheritance. Forget about the coins. Keep your house. Do not put your boyfriend's name on it. You need a home for you and the kids. He can live there with you and even get married, but always keep your house separate. And don't get convinced to take out a huge equity loan on it either. If you do anything different than this, you will have regrets in the future. And we do have another update. So shall we jump into it?
Yes, we
Yes,
shall.
let's do it. So first, I want to say that I am so appreciative of all the comments that seemingly are truly looking out for my best interest. My older sister, Melanie, had made me believe that the debt needed to be paid from the house, not the cash estate. She would never disclose to us that there was enough to pay off my mom's medical bills. Ah, sneaky girl. Sneaky.
Sneaky.
I contacted an estate attorney and ended up speaking with the attorney who was directly handling my mom's medical debts. He told me that there was no need to sell the house right now, that my family could move into it with no worry of paying the medical debt until the future if I ever decided to sell it. Interesting. So that's what we're going to do. If we ever decide to sell it, which I don't see right now why we would, as finding a 5-bedroom house is really hard to come by, we will split the sale of the house after her medical debts are paid and of course subtract any money we put into it going forward from their portion. I do agree that keeping the deed of the house in my name is the wise decision so that I will always have the security with my children if something were to ever happen between myself and my partner. I really appreciate all of the comments making that aware to me and all of the comments wanting to make sure I seeked out a lawyer. As far as the coins go, I didn't mention them because I was upset I wasn't getting a portion. I understand getting the house is a big deal. I mentioned what was happening with the coins to give an example as to why I don't feel I can trust Melanie and why I feel like she is not being honest about the money in the estate, which she wasn't. There is more money than just the coins that she is not being honest about. The deceptiveness is what hurts me. I feel like I am very open and honest with my family and would never try to deceive them. I would rather all the conversations, especially with my family, hold integrity. And by the way, we always hold integrity.
That's right.
Because we have stories for you just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Just search OK Storytime with more episodes just like
Yes,
this.
it's integral that
Yes.
you look up.
Yes.
Okay, story time.
Yes, and there is a little bit more. But do we have any final thoughts?
Dude,
before we
first of
move
all,
on?
high five to me because my ICU was on point.
Yeah.
That woman, as soon as she got that money, she was like, "Oh, I have,
All right.
I have a little scheme to make." Ooh. And then she started taking coins.
Yeah.
I don't know why the freaking siblings can't just get on board here.
I know.
It's a 5-bedroom house.
Literally.
Just freaking keep the house.
Keep
Y'all
it.
already got your inheritance.
It's so useful.
And then if need be, if the house gets sold, then we'll split it. But for God's sakes,
Exactly.
the house is gonna you don't want to sell it now anyway. It's gonna be worth
Right.
$1 trillion
and
down
I mean,
the line.
smart to talk to an estate lawyer because
get a professional's opinion on this. That's what she got
Yes,
to do. And
absolutely.
she did it, and that's great. But honestly, if I was OP, I would be okay with letting the coins go by. I feel like a 5-bedroom house is like way more in value than like these like $3,000 and $1,000 coins.
Yeah,
I would let them have that, I
The
think.
description of it just like jingling out of her purse onto the ground, and she like scrounges it up really quick and like just puts it back in. It's like,
yeah.
she's got a hole in her purse. She needs that coin. She needs the coin.
Yeah, but there is a little bit more. So let's see what happens next. Once I had felt settled and secure with talking to the lawyer, I texted my sibling group chat to let them know what was going on. The house will stay in my name. Melanie has been manipulating the situation, and once she thought I was selling it to my boyfriend, I knew she would tell all my other siblings that the problem is not that I was keeping the house, but that it would no longer be in my name. I can tell she's very angry that she can no longer spin the story for her narrative. But this is what my mom had intended in the first place. That's what we're saying.
Yes, it all goes back to literally the undisputable fact that this is what the mom wanted.
Yes. For myself and my children to have somewhere to live, and she always knew my boyfriend was in our package deal. Melanie still seems mad, but I don't see the problem anymore. I'll keep this post updated if anything else happens to come up. Again, thank you to everyone for the advice. It really helped me out so much and put me in a much more secure position. And yeah, we have a few replies. Shall we read them, Riley? Do we have your stamp of approval?
Indeed.
Okay, comment number 1. I am so relieved that you're not selling. Don't ever sell your house, even in the future. That's your children's inheritance. As for Melanie, it's time to cut off the cord and count your losses. OP replied, I truly do not plan on selling the house. I would love to keep it in our family for my children. Another reply, and do not ever add someone's name to the deed. Very important.
Yes.
And that's it. That's the end of it.
Yeah, I would say that's the one thing, is that if it's supposed to be your house and your family,
Yes,
make sure that
that
after
happens.
he pays for it, that your name on the paper.
Right. I wonder if OP can talk to like whatever lawyer is working with Melanie, like with the deed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or not the deed, but the inheritance stuff, like the will. Like, can't she just go directly to that lawyer and be like, yo, this is what's going on. I'm getting scammed over here.
I don't know. I think there's like conflict of interest stuff that goes on if like a lawyer is already taking a case with somebody else.
Oh, interesting. I don't know.
But regardless, she needs to get a real a lawyer. I am going no contact with my sisters, even though I promised I wouldn't, because they are freeloaders.
Listen, sometimes you can break promises. That's fine.
So, for context, the sisters in question, all fake names, are Darcy, 25, and Luan, 18, both unemployed. Darcy has 2 cats, Luan has 3 cats, and I, 24 female, have 8. By the way, this comes from user UB2000, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
Yes.
So, they moved back in late August of this year after repeatedly telling us they'd be going back to their own home soon. They never went back. Before they lost their home, Luan had me promise to never leave her. However, much has changed since I made that promise. I am also 2 months post-sepsis diagnosis, currently still in recovery. Yes, which is incredibly rough.
Very.
The thing is, going no contact with Darcy would be a piece of cake with buttercream frosting, easy and oh so sweet. She steals my food, my clothes, and even my laundry detergent. She tried convincing me I used half the container in a month, even though when I got home from the hospital, I couldn't even lift it off of the shelf.
Not the laundry sauce.
Yeah, she's trying to gaslight you about laundry sauce right now? What flavor of laundry sauce do you guys use? She's also highly immature mentally and emotionally and goes to extremes when she's upset. We get into arguments a lot. I've worked almost every single day since just 2 weeks after coming home from the hospital after nearly passing away, and I'm trying my best.
Boy.
I still managed to get some packing done here and there as I'm finally moving out next month.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Ow, ow, ow.
Yay. Congrats.
However, Darcy stays at home all day, sleeps through most of it, but claims she's cleaning the house while I sit on my behind when I'm home and contribute nothing. This is total BS considering I'm the only one financially caring for all 13 cats on top of refilling their water. Luan just dumps their food on paper plates on the floor despite me reminding her several times I've bought numerous bowls they can use. Darcy doesn't do anything for the cats, not even just scooping the litter boxes. Darcy is the sister I stole a cat from though.
What?
So her doing the bare minimum for the cats is not surprising.
Yeah.
By the way, the ruse is still going strong. The mental gymnastics I've had to perform to keep up the lie that Freddie is actually Freddie's son Fred should earn me a gold medal. I'm assuming that is the cat.
Yeah.
It's like no, this isn't Freddie. This isn't your cat. It's Freddie, the son of Freddie.
Right.
Son of Frederick.
Of course.
He still clings to me and is still very much my cuddle buddy. I buy the food, the litter, and am on water duty because I have the most cats. Also, because I'm the only one who seems to notice and or care when the bowls are empty. I'm also packing my stuff, which includes a great deal of sorting and cleaning. I asked Darcy what she had done besides laundry recently, and she mentioned a room she had cleaned 2 weeks prior. That was it. I mean, what? One room in 2 weeks?
Listen, that's impressive.
I mean, eventually, in a couple years, you'll be able to clean the whole house. During one argument, she got close and breathed in my face. She had bronchitis and was aware of it, and I've been struggling with it for 2 weeks now.
Oof.
My breathing at night sounds like a dog toy. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Just,
like that one squeaky toy from Toy Story?
yes, the squeaky.
Yeah.
What was his name? Petey or something?
No, it had something to do with his voice, I think. It was like
It was-
raspy or something.
I don't know. Is that Penguin? If I can help it, I'd rather not be around her or anyone like her. Luan is a different story. She was the only person who helped me when I got home from the hospital. My mom, 86, did not grasp how serious it was that I had gone into septic shock. Briefly, but still. And my body needed to recover. Darcy acted like I was acting entitled for asking for help with things like getting drinks, making some buttered toast, and getting to the bathroom. These were things I genuinely could not do myself for the first week. Like I said, Luan was very helpful to me then and the most empathetic, but the difference a month and a half can make is astounding. After that first week, Luan started having severe chest pains from severe anxiety. However, she and Darcy went around telling people that Luan had a tear in her heart and had to relax more so it wouldn't remove her from this mortal plane.
What?
Okay. Who lies about that?
Yeah, why would you?
Wow, who lies about that? That's absurd.
That's crazy.
That's a very complex line too, because I don't know, doing all that to get attention, maybe.
Yeah, I have a tear in my heart. It's like maybe lie about something a little simpler, like
Yeah.
I don't know. I have
Not so, like,
I have
critical?
an ulcer. I don't know.
That's just like, I would only believe that that's a lie if someone like lies all the time about crazy stuff, but I really doubt that this situation.
She went to 2 different ERs and neither of them ever mentioned a tear in her heart. Luan still used that excuse as to why she couldn't do more than just lay in her and Darcy's room. It felt offensive considering everything I had been through, and it stung that she was being coddled for this imaginary tear when I couldn't even get much support. Darcy is very much responsible for the majority of Luan's coddling. Luan uses her anxiety and stress as an excuse to not get a job. She was put on medication but took herself off it because she said it didn't feel like the same medicine anymore. Darcy reassures her that she doesn't have to get a job until she's ready, but I'm lazy for taking a day off after having an emotional breakdown from 3 panic attacks in one day.
Oof.
Yeah, there's always it sounds like there's a little golden child thing going on here with Luan.
Yeah.
He's also the youngest. So it's like,
That'll do it.
that'll do it. The emotional pain, seeing the contrast of treatment day by day, is just too much for me to sustain. I know it doesn't seem fair to cut contact for something that isn't entirely her fault, but it's not just the coddling she gets. For the past month, Luan just hasn't seemed interested in staying in my life. She hardly comes out of her room, and when I ask if she'd like to go to the store with me or to look at houses, she says no. Granted, I always chose house tours earlier in the morning because my grocery shopping job is very much a time is money job. It still hurts that given she has nothing else to do in the day, she chose not to just go to sleep earlier and come with me. She also contributes nothing to the house, like at all. She doesn't clean or do laundry. She doesn't wash dishes unless she's about to use one. She just sleeps and plays games all day. She claims she needs to rest for her mental health. When she gets some money by delivering food with her mom, she spends it on herself, but I'm a leech for not contributing every month to bills. I do when I can, an agreement I made with my mom, even though I pay for all of the cats and for all of my stuff.
That's a lot of cats to pay for.
Yeah, this is a lot. Like, that is
Lot of
not a small investment.
Not at
It's
all.
a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah, double, triple standards
Absolutely.
in the household, it seems.
Absolutely.
Another issue I have with my sisters is that they are still on good terms with the family members who have gone after and threatened me.
Ooh.
The most current threat is that if I'm not moved out by January 1st, their mother and grandmother are coming over, attacking me and physically forcing me out, something they cannot legally do. They have also intentionally tried to ostracize me in the house. Their mother has bought everyone but me food, shirts, and water, etc., and told them I was not allowed to have any of it. Stella, get out of there as fast as you can. Their grandmother has done the same. They did this knowing at the time I did not have the resources to get much food or water. When Darcy, Luan, and my mom get invited to holidays, they're explicitly told I'm not allowed. I haven't shown up to a family holiday function in over 6 years since I cut them off, but it's still clear what they're doing. What's crazy is they're mad at me for an incident all three of us were involved in. They claim it was all me and I was the mastermind who manipulated the others into following my plan.
Oh my gosh.
No, I cannot elaborate further for legal purposes. My sisters know they are equally at fault, but still allow my mistreatment. When I move out, I want it to be a fresh start, a release from all the toxicity and attacks I've been under. I'm worried I won't have that if I allow them to stay in my life. I'm also somewhat worried that when hits the fan and their anger is focused on them for causing my mom to spend her fixed income on them, and also without me as the scapegoat, they'll try and fork their cats over to me. Also, with me gone, Luan will have to spend her money on cat food and litter, and knowing that her manipulative mother may cut her off because she's been wanting Luan to live with her again. When that happens, it will be a storm because my mom cannot provide for 5 cats. I don't want to be involved in that, but my sisters have a habit of pulling me into drama I want no part of. Unlike their family, I run on cartoons, music, and OK Storytime.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Not drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least not your drama.
Not
Hear about everyone else's drama on Reddit.
And by the way, you can take that drama over and listen to full episodes with stories like this. Just go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, and search OK Storytime, and there you will find us.
Yes.
And there we will be. So we do have a little bit more
Let's get into
of the
it.
story here, but I think it's clear, like, Stella, you gotta get out of there. Clearly, these people it's gone so far south, and I don't think that you would be the a-hole for also breaking it off with Luan, because I think at this point, like, they're not in a place where they can be there for you, and they're also probably going to get the hooks put in them from the rest of the family, and eventually just get on the Stella bashing train. So I think you can just remove yourself entirely from the equation and go thrive.
Yes.
Without this, these big old monkeys on your back.
Right, because roommates are hard enough. I mean, speaking as someone who doesn't have roommates, except for my family, but I've heard so many stories of roommates.
What do you mean?
Being
Family is
so
basically
rough.
hardcore roommates.
Yeah, I guess so. But I've lived with them long enough, and like I'm
default roommates.
so busy that I'm like not home enough to like have it be a problem. But roommates are always tough, and this is just like an extra level of difficulty with these roommates, of them just like actually just bashing on you now. And so just get yourself away from that. That will make things better, and it might save your relationship with some of these people too. Just distance.
Yeah. Hey, good news is that you can totally get out of there.
Yeah.
The tricky thing is going to be like, especially with like the cats, like I know you're probably going to feel like obligated, but it's like you got to start this new phase by just looking out for yourself.
Yes.
Anyway, let's finish the story. Every time I bring it up to prepare them when they start making plans for the future with me in it, they at one point plan to host Christmas dinner at my new home and invite the sister I'm still pissed at for stealing my cat and degrading his health with Darcy's aid without even asking me. Lucy gets upset and reminds me about the promise. I am not a breaker of promises, but I need the chance to actually recover from everything I've been through mentally and physically, and I don't see that happening with them still in my life. So would I be the a-hole if I broke my promise and went no contact? So when it comes to that, you need to have a sit down heart to heart with Luan, with your sister, and just tell her where you're at and be like, I don't want to leave. Because it sounds like you really don't. It sounds like you think no contact has to happen for you to be able to have like a clean break now that she's kind of begun to switch up. But I think if you go to her and just like have a person like heart to heart, sister talk, be like, look, I'm not like doing this, because you can go no contact. If you really feel like you need to be alone away from your family, I think you can do that.
Yeah.
But you should let her know. It's like this is not your fault, right? It's like it's just everything has gotten so messy. I need to wipe the slate. I need a reset.
Right. Because you don't know what's gonna happen in the future, and so like you can make that promise, and you're probably in a bit of a better situation at that point, you know? So it's like if at that point it seemed probably easy to be like, no, I promise I won't go no contact. Like that's not gonna happen. Love you guys, you know what I mean? But at a certain point, you know, things get worse. And like you were saying, you just need to look out for yourself. And if they've pushed you to that point where that's going to help, then that's what you gotta do. That's what you gotta do.
I can definitely see the concern for the younger sister though, especially because she's like, I mean, 18's a hard age to like figure it out, and like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, yeah, she's sleeping a lot, or she's in her room a lot, and she's just kind of like isolating. It's like, it sounds like there's a lot going on for everybody. But yeah, I would definitely say not the a-hole. Just just have a convo.
Not at all.
Have the convo. Do what you got to do for yourself.
Not at all.
But that is the end.
My sister excludes me and disrespects me. I can't take it anymore.
You don't have to. Leave her.
Just need a vent about an extremely dysfunctional sister and maybe get advice. I, 34 female, has a sister, 37. Despite being extremely close in age, we have not been close for the majority of our lives. She was always catty and nasty towards me, even when we were children. For instance, when a friend of hers came over, they were maliciously catty towards me and wouldn't let me hang out or even be in the same room as them.
Dang.
That kind of
Your own
sounds,
sisters?
That sounds like brother, get out.
Yeah, but I guess if it's like their whole lives.
Oh,
it's like at
yeah,
a certain
yeah,
point,
yeah.
you gotta grow out of that.
Okay. And my parents would do absolutely nothing but shout from the other room, "Stop being mean!"
That's right.
And of course, she always hung out with me and my friends. By the way, this comes from Catch the Wave 321.
Ooh.
And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Yes, sound off if you're in the chat too, by the way.
Yeah, we want to see you.
Want to see ya.
Tag them if they're not here.
As we grew into teenagers, it always seemed as if she was sort of jealous of me. She would take my clothes, but not let me borrow hers.
Ew, that's so unfair.
Cut her hair the way I cut mine. If I put highlights in my hair, a month later, she puts highlights in her hair too. Date my ex, etc.
Oh my gosh, she's going in. She's stealing your identity at this point.
No, she's just inspired, guys. She's looking at her older sister or her sister, whatever, and she's like, I want to be her. Literally, I want to be her.
Literally,
Oh
I want to be her.
Have your brothers done that with you, Riley? Like, you haven't inspired them? Like, oh.
Well, one of them wants curly hair now. Sawyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sawyer, the one we're speaking of.
Sawyer, he wants curly hair now.
I feel like this is kind of like a sibling thing. Oh, until you got to the X part. Until I got to the X part,
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
X
oh,
is going a little
that's
too
a little
far.
too far. But like, I feel like siblings. I saw that with my friends who had siblings.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, I want to copy, what you had.
Honestly,
Yeah, I get that. I think as long as like she's being nice, if she's like excluding her but then also copying her, then it's like, what's
yeah. What are we
what's
doing here?
happening? You know what I mean?
What if my brothers got with my ex? I'd just be like, bro, what are you doing? Come on,
It's like we already figured out that doesn't work out.
Yeah, dude, like, come on. Fast forward to when we both went to the same college, and I went out on a couple of dates with this guy before we ended up high-fiving and going separate ways because we just weren't compatible. I found out a couple of months later from a third party that my sister was now full on dating this guy and has been since he and I parted ways. He was in the bushes. Hey, you wanna go back to my place? Follow me.
I think that's exactly how it went down.
Same. She and I lived in the dorm room next to each other and saw each other every day, and she never mentioned it. I don't think she
What?
had to because you were going to find out anyways.
Yeah, some way or another.
I confronted her, and she said she didn't want to upset me, to which my reply was, I didn't even like the guy. The only thing that is upsetting is that my sister would hide it from me. They got married 2 years later. But not before I let her know that her fiance was a complete womanizer. To that, she called me a liar and said, I was just jealous.
What? So not only did she like date her ex, but she married them too?
Just
Oh
get
my
back.
gosh.
Just to give him a little stab.
That's crazy.
My thought is, OP, whenever you get with someone else and that doesn't work out, what is she going to do?
Yeah, she's gonna divorce and try again.
That's what
Just
I'm
following
seeing.
your footsteps. Maybe we'll get an update someday.
We're like maybe a fifth through.
Let's keep going then.
Oh, probably.
It could happen.
Fast forward to 7 years of their marriage, and she found out that he had cheated on her hundreds of times. Pretty much their whole marriage.
If only someone had warned her.
She completely changes the way she was after that. No longer a self-righteous budget you-know-it-all. And we became best friends. She stays with the husband, though. During this time, I broke up with the...
Wait. Why'd you say like she stays with the husband though? Like when what?
Yeah,
She stays with the husband
probably at the
after
house.
cheating.
Oh, because you...
Don't worry, you lost a husband, but you still have him. But now you gained your sister back. What?
yeah,
I don't even know.
This is one of our own. We'll see. We know they got their heads on
But
straight, though.
things are complicated. If someone's not being treated well and they stay, it's usually a little bit more going on though too.
Yeah.
So our hearts are going out to you.
During this time, I broke up with a boyfriend of 1.5 years whose family and him commenced to dragging my name through the mud on social media, calling me all sorts of horrible things, such as a boat whore. I broke up with him because he barely worked, played video games 10 hours a day, and forgot birthdays, and was a virgin when he and I started dating.
Why is that like a big thing?
That's the worst thing about him.
He just didn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Mm.
He had no idea. I found out a year later that my sister, who is now a realtor, has not only kept in touch with him and stayed his friend, the ex, but has even shown and sold a house to him and his new girlfriend. Yes, she knew the verbal abuse about him and his family put me through when I broke up with him. I just felt like it was a stab in the back, seeing as I would have zero relations or conversations with anybody that treated my sister that way.
Oh.
Making a sell is not more important than family, though, in my opinion. Fast forward a few more years, and I'm married and pregnant with my firstborn.
Congratulations! That's so exciting.
We are still close, as her new personality has stuck thus far. She is my doula.
Your doula it's someone that like assists with the birth.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
my doula for the birth of my firstborn and a great auntie for the next couple of years. She slowly becomes her self-righteous, stuck-up self again. Now here's where it all goes to shit for reals.
Oh boy.
Fast
hasn't
forward 2 more years, and I'm pregnant with my second.
Congratulations!
As soon as I get pregnant, she and I make a plan that she's going to be my doula again for this birth as well, which she acts over the moon about.
Great.
At 8 months pregnant, our brother, 40, informs me that she's planning on going out of town November 1st. I am due October 28th.
Oh, what?
But
She's
like the
like-
baby's out though, you know?
Yeah, she's like, well, that's her due date. That's when the baby's got to be born, or else you get a bad grade.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah, you get a C+.
You can't have the baby late. That's
No.
not how it works.
She gets angry at him and says she didn't want me to find out because her entire trip was able to be rescheduled without paying fees. And if I hadn't given birth by the time her trip rolled around, she'd simply push the trip out. She also said that she doesn't really want to go in on it anyway because it's her with her cheating husband that she barely likes.
Oh,
So I don't worry about it.
oh boy.
I'm confused by this. Now, it's my due date, and I get a message from my sister asking if I'm in labor yet.
Mm.
I tell her no, but then my doctor has scheduled me to be induced on November 3rd, literally a couple of hours before she messaged me.
Oh wow.
She then convinces me to get super upset and telling me that I am so selfish for scheduling my induction in the middle of her vacation.
What?
Daddy, can the
That-
baby not
you
wait?
just like hold it in? Like, come on.
Put a tampon
She's a
in.
doula. She doesn't know how birth works.
That's not how
Yeah.
tampons work.
Really? I thought the tampons keep the babies in.
No, you put it in your nose.
You plug your nose?
You put it in your nose.
They're like, you put
This
it
is all
in,
true
and
information.
but like you put it in and it keeps the baby in, so it doesn't
Yeah.
come out. Excuse me for not taking your vacation you planned a month ago into consideration. I've only been pregnant for almost 10 months. I told her I didn't understand what the problem was since she said she could reschedule her trip and that it wasn't fair for her to act like I was the bad guy for not having a baby on time. She asked me to change it, to which I say no, because I will literally have to wait an extra week, which would make it dangerous.
Yeah.
Also, WTF?
Yeah, and so uncomfortable too. Like I've done so many. I've known one pregnant person that had like right around when you're like gonna have the kid. It's like, are you like just get out already? Because
Yeah.
like that is so painful to be like ready to pop and just have to wait a week when you
Yeah.
don't, just because your sister or sister-in-law?
Sister.
Yeah, just because your sister's on vacation? Come on.
We both called my mother to vent, who simply tells me to get over it because she's my sister. The same thing she has always said to me my whole life anytime she and I got into disagreements. I have the baby with support of my husband, my best friend, and my parents, as well as my brother. Everyone comes over the following days to see the baby. My sister takes almost a week to ask to come see him. Her trip was 3 days long.
Oof.
She makes no attempt to apologize or justify her actions. She simply acts like nothing happened. Low contact, no contact. What are we doing here?
I'm going to say low contact. What do you vote, Riley?
Well, right now, I know that she is becoming more self-righteous because OP already said it because she's at the end of the story. If I saw my sister being a horrible person and then she's nice for a couple of years, but she's kind of acting a little bit weird,
Yeah.
I'd probably go low contact right now.
Low contact. Yeah, I don't think it's enough to like cut it off completely yet.
Yeah.
But definitely distance yourself.
Yeah.
You need to be around.
Because you're seeing some stuff she did at childhood and you're probably like, but I still want to give
Yeah.
her a chance. I'm not going to be
Right.
like, yo,
If
what's
she's-
up? Hey. But if she texts me,
Right.
I'll respond.
Right. Like you don't need to be putting in the effort, but you can like react when she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we had the full context like we do now, I would go no contact. Because like she said that she's going back to her self-righteous self. A year later, and it's close to Thanksgiving time, and I find out 2 weeks before Thanksgiving that she and my mom have planned it for the entire family, not including me, who's also a woman of the family and a mother in the plan making. They said they were simply going to pick up her barrel, and I would know that plan when I showed up for Thanksgiving dinner with my homemade dishes. To which I said, since I wasn't involved in this plan making, me and my husband and children would not be participating in the family Thanksgiving this year. I will say, coming from where I come from, you don't plan this out. It is a big thing because the dish, in a way, resembles the family.
I get you. It's like representing your tribe.
Yep.
Your family.
We made other plans and went through social media on tea giving. I found out they actually were now having a full-fledged, everything homemade Thanksgiving on my sister's farm. They didn't swing by barrel. They just did it all themselves.
Without telling OP?
Without telling. They lied to her.
They sent her on a wild goose chase, and they stood her up. They stood her up for Thanksgiving dinner.
Didn't go to Cracker Barrel. Nobody went to Cracker Barrel.
Oh, well, no, I'm just imagining like if OP went to Cracker Barrel to like meet them and then no one's there. Can you imagine?
At this point, my feelings are more hurt than ever.
Yeah.
As not only I am not seen as a matron of the family, I'm not treated as one either.
Aww.
We have barely spoken or seen each other since. Now, my birthday was a month ago, and since my oldest was born, I have said how I want to take him to NASA to do their field trip for my children. My entire family knows this as I talk about it constantly. A week after my birthday, which my sister didn't even say happy birthday to me on, I found out through Facebook that she took her children and my parents for the day to a mass trip that I have been saying for a couple of years now that I want to do.
Oof.
The disrespect. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. They do the trip. They do the trip that she's like, I'm going to take my kids.
Without her.
She goes to NASA. If I was in NASA and I heard about this, I'd be like, hey, we got a new rocket we're testing out. Hop on in.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't even know how to put my feelings into words. Not only did she exclude me purposefully from it when she knows I've been really wanting to do it, but she invited and drove my parents there who didn't have the decency to tell her to tell me or to reach out to me themselves and let me know.
So everyone is just like neglecting and forgetting her. Oh.
This is crazy.
Oh.
I've been treated as a secondary family member by my mother, my sister, and even my maternal grandmother my entire life. At this point, I want to pretty much cut them off completely. She made a huge announcement to the family and extended family last week through group text messages that she was having Thanksgiving at her farm again this year, and made a point to say that she had already discussed the plans with a few of the women in the family. Wasn't talked to.
Oh, P, I'm so sorry.
When I don't respond to it, she texts me and asks if I'm coming because I planned it for you, basically.
Oh my gosh, that's so sad. Like, of course, in general things, it's nice for someone to plan things for you. But like, when it's something that everyone else is being included in the planning, it's like, well, why are you planning?
Yeah. Because the last time she commemorated Thanksgiving plans and didn't include me in the planning, it worked out so well. I simply told her I wasn't sure if we'd be able to make it. I don't want to go. I kind of feel like I need to for my oldest, who loves her and his cousins dearly and never gets to see them. Our family is so tiny, we don't have many. She makes no attempt to see us or even call or text us and see how we're doing. She takes their daughters to dance class every week about 2 miles from my home and never tries to see me or my kids before or after that. Never tries to plan play dates. Never includes me in the bonfires that she does at her house and invites my parents and my brother and his wife. But then she will send me these ridiculous reels on Instagram about my sister is my best friend, my rock, the person I can tell anything to, blah, 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 blah. What a load of
What?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Do we call her out?
You can't because the family is encouraging this.
I would call her out. I don't care if the family's. This is like if you're kind of patronizing me at this point. We're like all this on Instagram, like, oh, my best friend is my sister. Oh my God, lovey-dovey, and we're not even hanging out.
Two-faced.
It is two-faced, but her whole life, anytime they get in an argument,
OP, just shut up. You're fine. Yeah.
By the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. And search OK Storytime. And we have a little bit more diving in head first. I don't know. I just need to completely cut her out of my life.
I think definitely have a conversation first. Definitely talk to her about it. Be like, hey, like, this is really upsetting me. Like, if you don't want me around, I can go. Like, that's something I'm considering. But, yeah, just be like, this is hurting my feelings.
Not to go to Thanksgiving even, though my cousins and their children will all be there, or do I need to unload all of this on her? My family does not do communication well. If you tell my sister or my parents that they have wronged you in any way, they pretty much just tell you to get over it. They never apologize or try to right their wrongs, obviously. So I feel like I'm letting her know what a crap sister she is would be a waste of time and emotion. It wouldn't fix our relationship, it wouldn't fix her personality, and it wouldn't fix our family. Sorry, this is long, but it's been my entire life, and I'm over it. Thanks for reading. I guess I just kind of want a third-party, unbiased opinion about whether I should drop her completely or let her have it verbally.
Dude, I don't know. I think just talk to her. It feels like, I mean, I don't know if she mentioned talking to her, right? She didn't say anything about that.
She said it would be a waste of time if she did.
I say give it a shot.
I agree with Angie.
Because, I mean, if you're deciding that you're, like, okay with no contact already, then it's like, might as well talk to her.
Just put it out there. Yeah, as long as you put it out there, then it's like, all right, it's the ball is in your court. Do whatever you want. I'm done.
OP as like a non-confrontational person here.
Sure.
And every time
yes.
she has tried to say something, it probably has never worked.
Yeah.
What I was saying earlier is where the hell is the rest of this family? Like, where's no one standing up for her whatsoever?
Yeah.
Cousins. I get the parents are enabling the sister, but like,
still, they should be showing up.
Yeah. No one. It seems like no one has reached out to OP about any of this.
Yeah.
That's what's like.
Well, maybe
what's
they're
going
just not
on?
noticing it.
No, they are, but they just say, be quiet, stop bickering. Every time. That's what she's saying.
Yeah, but you're not children anymore. You're adults.
But if they do that as their children, just shut up, be quiet, and that's all they know as parents to do, they're going to keep doing it when they grow up.
I think, I don't know. I still think it's worth a shot, OP. I think that's a very situation, and I'm very sorry that it's so uncomfortable like that, and that they're all putting you in this situation. Maybe go to her house if you need to. Be like, we're going to have this conversation one way or another, and we're going to talk about this. You don't have to go in fighting, actually. Like, you really don't.
No.
I think you can just be like, hey, I miss you, and I miss hanging out with everyone.
Yeah,
okay?
like, what's the big idea?
What's the big idea?
What's going on here?
Yeah, it'll teach you a valuable lesson about standing up for yourself. Stand up to bullying.
Yep. And that's the end of that story.
But that is the end of that story. So we're gonna finish it.
What?
I don't know. If you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And
see you tomorrow.